Entertain me!
Words, words, words. Okay, there we go. Well, first off, thanks so much for the 42 months, Doof. I don't know why, but I appreciate it nonetheless. And hello! Welcome to more Ace Attorney. More Phoenix Wright. Honestly, it feels like... Man, I'm gonna change this song. It's too moody. That was from Professor Layton. There we go. I hope you're all doing well. Hello, LD. Hello, Doof. So, as I said on Discord, though, before I start, I'm going to do a tiny rant. Partly because I feel like it'll warm me up a little bit. I haven't really said much of anything today. Hello, Gum. But here's an important message to all of you people out there. Clean your stuff out. Clean your desks every now and then. But my rant starts with the fact that I have too many keychains and pins, apparently. And that kind of summarizes everything I'm going to rant about, so if that doesn't interest you. But I've just randomly got so many keychains and pins as gifts, but I've never done anything with them, like, at all. The only ones I've actively wanted are a Vadi and a Zelda keychain that I have on my keychain, like the one I actually use daily, not daily, but occasionally, and two Keyblades, you know, Oblivion and Oathkeeper. I jingled Oathkeeper yesterday on stream, and I couldn't find Oblivion, like, anywhere. Like, I actively looked down trying to find it a few times yesterday. So I dug through my desk trying to find it, because I knew I had it. You know, I wouldn't allow myself to not have that. And after like 10 minutes, I found out that I have a problem keeping my desk really clean on the inside, because I found way too many junk items, such as a random set of tickets from arcade that doesn't do that anymore. They're all digital now. They don't even have... They had like little keys you plug into stuff, and that loads your tickets up onto the key, and you come back, and that's how you get prizes. They don't do that anymore. They just have a thing, a digital thing you just take with you. I think they have a cards now, actually, which is kind of not as bulky as the keys, but less unique, right? But I also had a bunch of free spoons and sporks just in plastic still, because when you not gonna need those, right? You sit down with a meal and you're like, oh, I forgot my fork, where is it? And, well, apparently I never do that, because I have like 20 of them just sitting around. But I also found 4 little frog toys, 2 heart pins, and a blue hat Luigi. Try to give the Christmas thing. But the 2 Kingdom Hearts pin are the exact same pin. They're like Sora and Mickey standing back to back with each other, and I don't know where that came from. I also have really old magnets that I totally forgot, because I put them between 2 Snapple caps in order to make sure they didn't grab anything. And, you know, they also didn't grab my attention because I forgot about them entirely. By the way, did you know the penguins have an organ above their eyes that converts seawater into fresh water? Snapple knew that. You can hear them. Just as proof that I have them. This is the magnets hitting against the Snapple caps. And plus I had a lot of other junk. Like 2 pins from when I was briefly a Boy Scout. I was apparently good at science to get a pin, and I was very civilized, so I got another pin. Go me. There was also a little Christmas ornament my grandmother got me for like 50 cents. She thought it was a Pokeball, but it is in fact a Mickey Mouse. Like the top of his head with his ears chopped off, and then the bottom of his shorts covering the rest of his face. I don't know what it's for or who it's for, but it exists and someone stole its ears. Just his ears. I think you've actually seen that on stream before. I think I've showed that one. And yeah, it's pretty morbid to deal with. And that's the end of the rant, really. It's just I have a bunch of junk just sitting here. I have a stinking thing from EverQuest, if anyone even remembers what that is. And a Tetris keychain, too. And a Mewtwo pin. Also, as a random question, well, not random, but do keys count as keychains if you can't use the key anymore? Like, the door that this random key with fire on it goes to is gone. It's not there anymore. I can't use this key ever again. But I still have the key. Because, you know, it looks cool. But that's the end of the rant. Hope you all enjoyed. And the overall message is to clean your desk more. You know, I'm going to be streaming for like 3 hours probably. While you're listening, you should clean your desk. Get rid of all the junk and your 20 packages of spoons and sporks. But thanks for listening. Because that's it. It was a good warm-up, because I've said all of, like, 5 things today. 3 of which were to myself. 1 of them was, like, go to sleep. But hope you're all having a good day, and it's about to get worse, because you're about to listen to Ace Attorney. Hope all of that was audible, by the way. Oh, I was looking at Sapphire Gum. I thought you did a sunglasses emote. You are in fact doing a Dances Dinosaur emote, which is better. It would be better if that dinosaur had sunglasses on, though. You know, throwing that out there as an idea for whoever owns that emote. Also, none of you said anything that entire rant. I hope I didn't sound like a robot. That was my only real concern. I did mess with the microphone again, but if no one's complained, then I will assume I sound great. As usual. But let's get back to the Turnabout Time Traveler and, you know, forget everything. Does anyone have a recap of what we were doing? I'm sure the game will tell us. Why can't I skip these? God, can we go back to Dual Destinies? What? So the whole time traveling thing was just a ruse put on by the guests at the reception? Looks like it. Knew there had to be some kind of trick to it. Wow, 2 wedding receptions. Hello, Simeon. Can you imagine? Wonder how much that must have cost them. I have no idea. You know, if she thought it was time travel, how did she not notice the different colored flowers? She was the one holding them. But if you had to ask, you're not rich enough to want to know. Ooh. Still, if you got the money, it's a pretty good way to cover things up, if you ask me. Unless you're against me. I'll see right through it. You got that right. Sure, I would have been completely fooled. No, you're smart. She also probably could have heard, like, everyone's hearts beating super fast, and been like, something's different. Something's wrong. Hey, I'm back! Hey, Maya, you all set to go? Yep! Ready when you are! So, what should we start with? Are we gonna take over the blimp? Let's start with reviewing what we learned at the trial. You know, recap for anyone who may have forgotten. Like, I don't know, the one voicing me. What Ellen thought was time travel was really just a performance put on by the Sprockets. But other than that, it seems that what Ellen told us was actually all true. So what really matters right now is the identity of the mystery person Ellen said she saw while she was being attacked. So who is this mystery person? That's the $1 million question, I'm afraid. Oh, so the reception cost $1 million, huh? If you want to clear Ellen of any suspicion, then figuring out who they are is key. I think I'll take take toilets for 200 instead, Mr. Wright. I wasn't expecting a Jeopardy reference. But yeah, with Apollo gone, I guess Athena's washing the toilet. At least there were only so many people on that airship that night. Bunch of them unnamed, so it must be someone who has a name. And we know who the mastermind of the whole cover-up plot was, too, so that's good. We do? I just realized you guys can't hear a dang thing in this game. I zoomed down to the thing, and you haven't been hearing any of the music. There you go. I'm sorry. The audio mixer has 4 different things, and it's not tall enough to actually show me all of them. Can I actually increase that? Alright, I made the screen a lot smaller, but I never look at that anyway, so that's fine. Sorry about that. You could have said something, though. Well, that's my bad. I forgot I muted it yesterday when we were playing solitaire. You mean the groom, Soren Sprocket, right? Exactly. He might know something that could help us out, assuming he knows how to talk. So then, what am I doing here? Oh, it's you. Thought it might have been Emma. I'm a very busy man, you know. Well, all the other people involved are Soren's family members. And for some reason, you're the only one I know how to trust. I thought I'd better start by interviewing you. Even if I probably shouldn't trust a word out of your mouth. Yep. Oh, man. I have a really tight schedule, but heck, what are friends for, right? Okay, pal, go ahead, ask me anything. You do remember it was you who came to me for help in the first place, right? Can I ask how he keeps his hat on his head? Is it being stabbed? The incident. I want to go over exactly what happened when I step outside this office again. What happened when... I'm going to go over exactly what happened when before I... And what happened when. Okay, I understand now. The lack of a comma confused me. What happened when before I step out of this office again? Since you were there, Larry, do you think you could help me get it straight in my head? Even though you only know how to walk in a curved line? If I gotta. Okay, so the first reception is held at 7 p.m. the day of the incident. That's the one you tried to crash, right? Huh? Oh yeah, that's right. And they locked me up in a cabin. It was awful, I tell you. Too bad we're not here to focus on you, Larry. Then the incident occurred after this reception around 10 p.m. Ellen was attacked in the reception hall by Gloomsbury. Forced her onto the Vista deck and was just about to kill her. But Ellie fought back and ended up killing old Gloomsbury instead. Go her. To cover it up, the family quickly threw together a second reception. That's what Edgy's claiming anyway. But I know my Ellie didn't do it. The key point here is the mystery person Ellen said she saw strike Gloomsbury. Also, she's not yours. Just before she passed out. You see anybody suspicious skulking around that day? Nope, just the mirror. Not a soul. Because I was locked up in the cabin the whole time. But you managed to escape and sneak back into the reception hall. That's when you switched the lantern in the event hall with the lantern in the hold, right? You see anybody then? The place was completely deserted. Guess because that Pierce Butler guy had everyone gathered somewhere. That makes sense. He must have been going over the cover-up plan with them. So clearly the murder had already happened by the time Larry got out. He must have gotten everything ready fast and had a second reception soon after that. And after the second reception, Ellie went to clean up the reception hall. And as luck would have it, that's when she found the body and the lantern I brought up. I tried to do something nice for Ellie out of the goodness of my heart, and this happened. Still don't know exactly what happened during the actual murder itself. We'll just have to look into it, along with the identity of that mystery person. I guess we can't scan for more fingerprints. While the murder was taking place, you were locked up in a cabin. Did you see anything unusual while you were in there? And the cabin? Let's see. Well, there was that pterodactyl flying through the sky. That's pretty unusual. Oh, right. That drawing of the pterodactyl you saw. What's with all the air quotes? I really did see it, I swear. Please don't flip the tables. We have to pay for those if they're damaged. But hello, Random. Hope you're having a good day. But Larry, the time travel thing never actually happened. Which means you couldn't have seen a real pterodactyl flying through the sky. About as likely as seeing a phoenix fly through the air. Oh, right. Doing okay, other than... having a lot of dirt under my nails now. Which, I mean, really, what is with your nails getting dirty all the time? But also when digging through a messy desk. Ow. Are you doubting the eye of a super popular picture book author? No, I'm just doubting you. I'm just sure you saw something else and mistook that for a flying reptile. Nick, you're making me doubt my own eyes now. Now I'm not even sure what I saw. Uh-huh. Either way, you have no idea what actually happened in the real scene of the murder. That's right, and I can say that with every confidence. Oh wow, look at the time. I better go. I have a book signing to get to. A book signing? Whose book? Whose do you think? It's mine, of course. It's Lawrence Denuxium. Doxonym. My nobody name. Book signing. I bet you went around and begged a bunch of bookstores to let you do one. Of course not. They're the ones coming around to beg me. Looks like I guessed right. Anyway, I have to go. I'll send you 10 copies of my new book that I just got released the other day, alright? 10? That's very generous of you. Am I expected to pay for those? What are you talking about? I'm gonna send you the bill too, of course. Just put them down as office expenses or something. Well, I'll see ya. Wait, Larry, we don't need... he's gone. I'll take a copy, boss. Oh, and make sure it's signed. Oh, boy. Trucy's not gonna like this office expense. Oh, right, she handles all the paperwork, doesn't she? Well, there goes our first lead. What do you want to tackle next, Nick? Larry. Right, we should really hit the streets now, huh? How about we go see Ellen? Sounds good, boss. Bet I can cheer her up. I thought you were going to help Trucy with her magic show again today, Athena. Weren't you supposed to meet her right about now? Trucy said she was going to practice her new trick on you, if I recall. On me? Really? Trucy's show is an important source of income for our agency, you know. About 70% of it, in fact. You can leave the case to us, so you go ahead and run along now. But boss... Are you gonna handle my medical expense too? Off you go, Athena. No! I don't want to die! We better get going too, Maya. It's nice that he just wants to have a classic adventure with Maya. Okay. Just enjoy the music for a second. Wait, hang on, actually. Look at this. Your attorney's badge looks so nice and shiny on your lapel. It's so cool. Like the mark of a true hero. If I can be a hero to my clients, it's good enough for me. Oh. In that case, I'll be the commander that controls the hero from behind the scenes. Wait, are you saying you've been manipulating me all this time? Yep! Go, Robo-Wright! To the crime scene! I guess that makes me a Robo-Lawyer? Robo-Lawyer in Neo Old Tokyo? It could work. I could definitely see the Steel Samurai being a client. You know, I don't know, being accused of murdering someone with a spear when he was just trying to save them. Something like that. feels like it's happened before. Why can't I skip this? It's so slow. Oh, my poor sweet Soren. I wonder how he's getting along without me. Hello, Ellen. Oh, Mr. Wright, what's gonna happen with this trial, do you think? Well, first and foremost, we have to hurry up and find this mystery person you saw before you passed out. Why do they let a murder suspect carry all this stuff? Do you think that person could be a real killer? It's quite possible, and if we can prove that, we can clear you of all charges. Actually, would you happen to know where Soren is right now? He's usually busy with meetings all afternoons, but he should be home by evening. Where did you get those? Whose are they? Why do you have them? Why do you look so proud? I think I'd better go have a chat with him later then. Why am I being treated to a view of someone's underwear? Mr. Wright, don't tell me. You suspect my sweet Soren? Well, he is the one who masterminded the second reception after the time skip, I think. So I thought he might be able to tell us something. How could you, Mr. Wright? Can't possibly think my Soren would never kill anyone. Alright, just calm down. No, not if you're accusing my Soren. Please, I'm not accusing anybody. So please put the pan and ladle down, alright? I don't really know if this glass is pan-proof. Probably bulletproof, but that's not the same. Either. Cross my heart. And I've probably died before. But for now, would you mind if I ask you a few more things about the case? Better be careful not to provoke her. Could you tell me about Soren? There's nothing to tell. He's squeaky clean. Alright, okay. Maybe I should avoid the topic of Soren right now. Let's talk about something else then. Fine, but you won't hear a peep out of me about Soren. Talk about pulling teeth. What about Pierce? Can you tell me about Pierce Nochi then? Nochodi? Nishodi? Sivia, what's the pun here? Pierce... Nicody? He's persnickety. Okay. Got it. So, Mr. Nickety? On a rickety flying boat? Okay. Thank you, Sivia. Pierce. He came to Sprocket Manor about a year ago. Only a year ago. He's the family butler. He's now in charge of everything in the household. Only a year ago. It's always tiring when Phoenix and I have the same thoughts. Did he have some kind of special connection with the family? I'm just a maid, so I'm not privy to such things, I'm afraid. Also, he mastered his shoulder bug in only a year? Might have been Soren's order, but Pierce is the one who coordinated the whole thing. He's the one who really orchestrated the grand time travel farce. He must have quite a bit of authority in that family. But no matter how good he is at his job, how could anybody gain that much influence in a single year? I really don't know. I mean, he is an excellent butler. Wouldn't that explain it? You're an excellent maid. Where's your authority? It's really as simple as that? What you thought was time travel was really just a cover-up carried out by your in-laws. Pierce said Soren was the one who ordered the whole thing. I still can't believe it, even if the second reception was fake. Soren would never use time travel for something like that. He's very serious about his time machine research, you know. I heard there's a reason he's researching time machines, actually. Something about something he wishes he could change. But isn't the whole idea of traveling back in time itself a little fantastic? Says me, the one who talks to ghosts? I don't think so. After all, Soren said real-time travelers do exist. Really now? You think he knows someone who actually traveled through time?
That's right. I haven't seen it personally, but someone said as much. So I believe it.
Oh. Somebody who actually traveled through time, huh? Pretty hard to believe. Thank you, Ellen.
You're going to do your investigation now, aren't you?
Yep, that's right. I'm gonna try.
Please make sure you don't cause someone any trouble, okay?
I'm afraid I can't promise you that.
What? Ow. Please, whatever you do, please don't upset my poor Soren any further. I'm begging you.
I'll do my best not to cause him any unnecessary trouble.
Oh, I couldn't bear it if someone ever came under suspicion. I'd rather be found guilty myself. Where?
Yikes! Ellen, please, don't work yourself up like this. You don't want Soren to worry, do you?
That's not fair, Mr. Wright. Okay. No, you're right.
Always am. And the floodwaters recede once more.
So what do you do now, Nick?
Well, Ellen said Soren is usually in meetings in the evening, so let's save our house call until then. Why don't we go to the mooring dock and figure out our next move from there?
Roger, Nick.
It's a shame the whole manipulating thing wasn't canonical. Maya should be giving the suggestions. I sure hope Larry isn't around. I noticed something, but I'll keep it to myself. So where should we start?
Let's see. Are there any places we haven't examined yet? We already investigated the reception hall and the Sprocket Manor.
I know! We haven't looked at the Vista deck or the hold yet.
Hey, you're right.
Always am.
We've still got some pretty important places left to examine, don't we? The Vista deck's the actual scene of the murder, right?
And the lantern with the body in it was stored in the hold. I think there's a good chance we'll find some important clues in those locations.
Do we know how to get into the hold?
Good question. I think it was labeled in that diagram of the airship in this pamphlet. Let's take a look.
There it is.
Da-da-da. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go! Wait, why are we even here? Guess we needed a reason to open it. Look at the little Moogales back there. So this is the hold, and that's a big cake. This is where Pierce orchestrated the whole cover-up operation. We better go over this place with a fine-tooth comb. Every nook and cranny.
Hey, Nick. Weren't we supposed to need a keycard to get in here?
Huh, you're right. Wonder why it was unlocked. How's it going, Mr. Wright? Oh, it was Emma. I thought it'd be Pierce. Emma, what are you doing here?
Just a little independent investigating for my own sake. Gotta keep the mind sharp.
Ah, so the door security system was turned off for the police investigation. Makes sense. I'd like to investigate the hold ourselves. Would that be alright?
Yeah, sure. Who cares? The police just finished their examination anyway.
Thanks. We'll just take a quick look around then.
Oh, right. You should know that the floor doubles as a huge lift. You can use that lever way back there to raise it up to the Vista deck. The police inspected it already, but didn't find anything particularly interesting, it seems. If you do go up to the Vista deck with the lift, be careful not to fall.
Got it, thanks.
That goes double for you, Maya. What? Yes, ma'am.
Let's get this show on the road. What do you know, Emma? Any progress with your investigation?
Nothing conclusive yet, I'm afraid. Almost everybody was involved with the cover-up. So it's hard to know who or what to believe.
I know what you mean.
Unless you have some compelling evidence, I'm afraid it's gonna be a tough trial for you.
Ugh, you're telling me. There isn't much time left, so I just gotta make do and see what I can turn up. Well, I mean, honestly, is this not normal? Let's look at the cake first.
Oh, it's a cake, Nick! A cake! So big. It's so big they wouldn't miss one little piece, would they? If you're that in the mood for a mouthful of styrofoam, sure, knock yourself out. You mean it's not real? Well, it sure fooled me. I was so ready to have some that I'm really craving cake now. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Come on, Nick, let's go get some. Maybe after the trial's over. We'll celebrate. Take a look at the candle? Huh? Looks like there are some fingerprints on this candelabra. Yeah, I just got done dusting that. Let's see. I was able to pull off a set of left-hand prints. Do you know whose prints they are? Yeah. The prints belong to the victim. Dumas Gloomsbury. Nick, I just figured out something amazing. You did? Get this. If the fingerprints on the candelabra were from his left hand, then Mr. Doom and Gloom must have been left-handed. Oh, hang on. Am I still here? Sorry, the thing said I was reconnecting. I was confused. Well, then Mr. Doom and Gloom must have been left-handed. Wow, the discovery of a century. What do you think of that? Do I have the makings of a great detective or what? Oh yes, your deductive reasoning skills are nearly encyclopedic. Gumshoe would be proud. Hey, you're pretty good, Maya! Don't humor her. I looked into it myself, and sure enough, the victim really was left-handed. Really? I got it right? Awesome. Good for you, Maya. Good for you! That's all you gotta say. I, think you did a real great job, Maya. Way to go! Guess one can never have too much info. Now you're talking! Hey. But come to think of it, this candelabra isn't in the photo Larry took of the hold, is it? That picture was taken while they were getting ready for the first reception, right? Candelabra must have been brought here sometime after that, then. Still possible it has something to do with the incident, though. Well, OBS says I'm still live. Although it keeps telling me that I'm reconnecting to chat. I assume Twitch is just being twitchy. I better add it to the evidence file just in case. Oh, by the way, Mr. Wright. You can have this fingerprint powder if you like. You're giving this to us? Sure. I have 4 other sets. Only 4? Thanks. I feel like there's something more to the candelabra, but I can't put my finger on it, because then my fingerprints would be on it. And then I would be a suspect. What's that, a wedding bell? According to the pamphlet, it's used on the Vista deck during the wedding ceremonies to bless the newlyweds. I guess they disassemble and store it away here in the hold when it's not being used. Cows? Oh, we get a zoom in on the cows. So there are 2 male Pegaboo lanterns in the reception hall. That must mean that these 2 were female Pega-cow lanterns. There, got their sexes mixed up when he replaced the one in the reception hall, huh? Didn't you see the horns? The difference is pretty glaring if you ask me. Maya, it's Larry. And yet he managed to not notice. That's what makes Larry Larry. Yep. And Larry being Larry is why I've seen more than my fair share of trouble for a lifetime. Oh, Mr. Wright. You know that lantern the victim was found inside the reception hall? I'm just about to go piece it back together so the police can examine it. Oh? Okay. We'll stop by for a look too, once you're done fixing it. Emma's being awfully helpful, despite being Edward's biggest fan. Oh, look, Nick, it's an airplane. I wonder if Soren built that one too. Hey, why don't we take it for a spin? Just a quick tour around the neighborhood. And who do you propose is going to pilot that wooden death trap? Me, of course. Who else? Don't worry. I've seen people fly airplanes on TV plenty of times. I think I'll pass. I've still got my whole life ahead of me. Can't wait for my next game. This is the airship engine. Pretty impressive. It's all rhythmic like a heartbeat. It's the literal heart of the flying chapel. Can Athena read it? Look at these huge gears spinning around and around and around and around and around and around and I think I'm starting to get dizzy. Yeah, me too.
Plates? These must be dishes and glasses they use for receptions. Very fancy. But we'd be in big trouble if we broke any of them. Ooh, I want to see, Nick. No, what did I just say? You, young lady, need to stay far, far away from them. Nick, I think I want to break them, don't you? Let's just say your rap sheet for breaking things doesn't help your case. I was about to say your track record precedes you, so... She did break something in the last stream as soon as she saw it, so... Can't even argue this time, Maya. These are the flowers we saw in Larry's photo! The petals make them look like little gears. Do they? Yeah, I guess so, if you look at the edges. I was always focused on the white part. Perfect flower for the Sprocket family, huh? Maybe they were going to shower the couple with these petals. You mean kind of like how people throw rice or confetti? And then they go crazy because all the birds fly down and eat it all? Yeah, like that. Only, these were found at the scene of a murder instead. So crows were involved. What else is there to look at? This little light bulb? No. Oh, the lever. Duh. Double check. Alright, Maya, pull the lever! And not the power switch lever. There's the lever to the lift Emma told us about. Let's try going up on it. I'll flip the switch. Here goes nothing! Wait! I'm not even on yet! Hmm? Hey, Maya! Stop the lift! How did the police not notice this? Whoops, sorry. I got a little carried away. Or I almost got carried away. Never mind that. Move over a little. Okay. Wait, are we off the lift or are we on the lift? The perspective here is a little weird. Is that blood? The blood? Let me see. Could it be Mr. Gloomsbury's blood? Well, this lift goes up to the Vista deck where the murder took place, so I think that's the most logical conclusion. But I thought the victim was clubbed to death and that there wasn't much blood. Something tells me I better take a picture of this. With my handy-dandy Phoenix camera. Lift bloodstain added to the court record. I should ask him about it some more later. Maya, can you bring the lift back down now? You got it! I'll flip the switch again. Wait, doesn't Emma need to, like, study that? There it goes. What's below the lift? Just an endless void? You just fall into the abyss? I want to find out some more about that bloodstain. I don't really know much about blimps, so there's probably something down there. Now for now, I guess we should go up to the Vista deck and take a look around the actual crime scene for ourselves. The view must be great from there. It's a killer, I hear. I bet it'll be awesome. You mean it would be if it wasn't the scene of a murder. Okay, I'm ignoring that comment. To the Vista deck we go! Make sure you actually get on the lift this time, Nick. I know. Okay, I'll just flip the switch again, and away we go! What a delightful sound. Definitely not ear-wrenching. Wow, look at the gorgeous view! This is where Ellen was attacked, and Mr. Gloomsbury was killed. Yeesh, one wrong step and it's splat on the ground below. I'm glad Apollo's not here. Should we investigate the stuff that's a little close to the edge? Well, I don't see much of anything over there. Police investigation didn't turn up any clues either, so maybe we don't need to? Nick, they missed a bloodstain. Oh, I get it. You're scared, aren't you, Nick? Of course not. Ow. Bit my tongue. Come on. Let's go back down and finish checking out the hold. Why can't I skip this? What else is there to look at? Hmm? Is there something obvious I'm missing? Look at the lights. The lights, the camera, the action. Well, maybe I'm done here. If I talk to... Whoops. If I talk to Emma? Candelabra. Emma, can we check out this candelabra a little more? A little more? What do you... Oops. What happened? I almost dropped the candelabra, and the candle slipped off. Well, let's be careful with that. It might be important evidence, and possibly a weapon. Wait a minute. Now what? One of these pins that hold the candles is broken. What? There's definitely something fishy about this candelabra. There is? What makes you say that? The thing she literally just said. Call it forensic investigator's intuition. We already dusted this for prints earlier. Let's test it with luminol this time. Knowing Emma, she'll use every test she has at the same time if she could. Would luminol interrupt with, or like, interact with the print dust? I guess it would wash it off. Just hang on, it'll only take a second. I hope this turns up a new lead somehow. Why are the police so bad at their jobs? Emma, did you find anything? Take a look at this, Mr. Wright. What is all that blood doing on there? It'll ruin the candle. I don't think the smell of copper is very popular. Maybe somebody got hurt while they were setting up for the reception? These pins are pretty sharp. But if one of the pins is broken, it means there was some force involved. You think maybe somebody got stabbed? But nobody reported anything like that. Well, they're probably dead. That's quite a bit of blood. Wonder whose it is. If I have anything that might shed some light on that, I should probably show it to Emma. The bloodstain? Emma, about this bloodstain. Doesn't something about it strike you as odd? What's odd about a victim's blood? That's not exactly... There's just something about it that bothers me. Now that you mention it, I can't say I necessarily disagree with you. Maybe I should talk about this some more with her. Okay. About this bloodstain, what about it? Didn't we just have this conversation? Something about it that's been bothering me. So yeah, what's that? Well, there's a huge bloodstain on the crime scene lift and a bloodstained candelabra. Now this is only a guess, but I'm thinking that maybe these two bloodstains are from... Thinking maybe these two bloodstains are from the same source. I guess that is a possibility. Can we compare the two bloodstains? Would that take a lot of time? Are you kidding? Don't underestimate the power of science! It'll be done in a jiffy. And the results are in. That didn't take long now, did it? One whole fadeaway. Seems that the blood is from the lift and candelabra are from the same person. And that person is... Okay. Double update. Now the victim was clubbed to death, and there isn't that much blood. Wasn't all that much blood. But if this isn't Mr. Gloomsbury's blood, well, this is just a guess. But what if Mr. Gloomsbury stabbed somebody with the candelabra pin? That would explain both the huge blood stain on the lift and the blood on the candelabra. Oh my goodness! If that's true, then that means there was somebody else present at the scene of the murder. It does, doesn't it? I guess Ellen isn't hurt. Might just substantiate Ellen's statement of about a third person. Emma, could you have this blood analyzed? Sure thing! Mysterious bloodstain on a candelabra with the victim's prints on it. Might just be the thing to back up Ellen's memory of seeing a third person. Let me say that out loud next to the detective who's working with the prosecutor. Next up, the reception hall. Might be worth taking another look around in there. The reception hall? The forensics team is in there investigating right now.
Isn't that you? Oh, they are? Well, we don't have time to sit around, so let's go check out something else. Good idea. We can go question some people. Especially Soren. I have quite a few questions for that guy. Sounds good, Nick. Have to do some legwork then. Yep. Thought we'd head to Soren's house for starters. He was accompanying the police on their investigation here earlier, but he's probably home by now. Great, thanks. Later, Emma. Is she not part of the forensics team? I thought that was her whole goal. Is she just hanging out doing whatever? I mean, I guess she is the head detective. Because they couldn't bring back Gumshoe. I just wanted a 3D model Gumshoe. Is that too much to ask? Okay. So I can't get over how gorgeous Sprocket Manor is. Just don't touch anything, especially that radio. I wasn't going to. He was definitely going to. I was told I had guests. It's you. Thank you for seeing us, Soren. We know you're busy. I still don't know what voice to give you. I'd like to ask you a few questions about the case, if you wouldn't mind. I see. Soren? You're Ellen's lawyer, right? Huh? Yeah, that's right. Don't tell me he doesn't remember me. Ellen be found guilty. We're doing everything we can to prevent that. That's why we're here investigating. Will you please tell us what you know? Not much. Soren? Alright, fine. What was that pause all about? Better not talk to me by jabbing me in the eye with a paper airplane again. It was you who gave the order for that large-scale cover-up plan, isn't that right? What large-scale cover-up? Don't play dumb with us. You held 2 wedding receptions in order to try and cover up Mr. Gloomsbury's murder. Ellen thought that, through the power of the timekeeper you built, she traveled back in time. Ah, so that's why there were 2 receptions. Wait, does he seriously not know why the reception was held twice, and he just didn't question it? Looks like I'll have to delve deeper here. So the cover-up scheme, that fake trip through time, you're not the one who was behind it all? Mr. Nickety, I had to think about how to pronounce that again. Pierce Nickety stated in court that you were the one who ordered it to be carried out. Pierce said that? I see. I leave him in charge of everything around me. So whatever he decides is, in essence, my decision too. So I take it that you didn't know anything about the cover-up? That's none of your business. But you were in 2 wedding receptions in a row. And still you claim to know nothing? I have nothing more to say to you. Please leave. But Soren... This guy is such a pain. Ow! Oh, there's something written on this paper airplane. Let's see. Go away. Doesn't get clearer than that, huh? Looking especially uncooperative, but... maybe I can grab his attention somehow. Still that one piece of evidence I don't know much about. Worth a try. Maybe purposely vague. Or pendant, maybe? What are you showing me that for? Mr. Sprocket! Ugh. Can't read him at all. Can't even read his book. Not even with an item as loaded as sentiments as this. Timekeeper? What are you showing me that for? Well, dang. Sis. I'm sure your sister would want the truth of this case to be known. How rude. That was pretty rude. Is intruding on the private lives of others a part of your job as a lawyer? Kind of. I apologize. Guess showing him the picture of his sister wasn't such a good idea after all. More like phrasing it like that. It's been like, what happened? Or, you know, is this the reason you want to go back in time?
Let's see. I didn't think he'd have anything to say about Larry. Does this bring anything to mind? Even some small, vague detail will do. The only thing small and vague here is you. Take this. This guy really doesn't want to talk, does he? Now, I'm impressed with Soren's aim, but not impressed with Phoenix's ability to dodge. I don't know what evidence they want me to present. I don't remember. Dang it, I don't want to watch this every time. I guess I'll just read through the evidence real quick. Let's see. We got that. Vicious person. Flying chapel. Photo of the victim. Fog machine. Well, we don't really know much about the fog machine, but... I don't know which thing they want me to use here. I really don't want to watch that every time. On the statement? No. Maybe I'll read what he said again. Oh, but then I have to watch this again. Dang it. Why is that card still on the ground? Aha! Come back to hear more about my camera, have you? I'm sorry, but I'm really busy right now. Oh, what a shame. Well, if you ever want to talk about cameras, come back and see me anytime. Sounds like even his own family members don't want to listen to him. Poor guy. But are they all like this? Hey Nick, better watch out or you'll be cursed by the bouquet of woe. Oh, come on, Maya. Like I'm gonna believe an urban legend you just made up. It's true, though. I heard it from ghosts. The fog machine? One of the first times in an investigation that I've just been totally stumped. I don't remember which thing we have questions about still. At least that Soren would be interested in. I don't know what we need to prove. Who said that? Blah blah blah. Ow. Something written on this paper airplane. It says go away. Maybe I can grab his attention somehow. One piece of evidence I don't know much about. It's worth a try. See, like, that doesn't really narrow it down for me. There's something I don't know much about. It's literally any of this. Concussion found in the back of the head. One on the side. The blows were caused by the same weapon. Like, I don't know anything about any of these. No, I showed that to him, and then Phoenix made some rude comment. And Soren got even more closed up. So I'll do it again. Why not? See, he says this. I'm sure your sister would want to know the truth of this case to be known. Like, not asking about her at all, just trying to guilt trip him, which is terrible. How rude. I apologize. Guess showing him the picture of his sister wasn't such a good idea after all. So, I don't know which one I'm trying to get him to talk about. What do I not know much about? Other than everything. Broken Lantern, maybe? I don't know much about my attorney's badge. Is it really metal or is it cardboard? I think it doesn't... I guess I'll just go through all of them. Eventually something will be different. Sorry for the hassle, everybody. But I really don't know which one I don't know much about. Maybe the photo of the reception? No? Gonna count these as damage points? I mean, with the... how many times I'm getting stabbed, it definitely should be at least one. You didn't want that. Wait, did I try the... Did I try the chapel pamphlet? I don't know. Bloodstain? I should have kept a list of which ones I did. Can't even press start to skip these. Guy really doesn't want to talk, huh? There we go. Now I can lean back a little easier. Just lean back, relax, and get stabbed by paper airplanes. Just another Monday. Yeah, I've got nothing. Does anyone have anything? I don't think so. Is it gonna be the candelabra? It was the candelabra. Okay. I just casually skipped by the one that I needed. You know, fair, I don't know much about the candelabra, but... it was so vague. I figured if he didn't know about the bloodstain, he wouldn't know about the candelabra. It's only the same thing. Except completely different. Soren, have you ever seen this before? That's... Soren, what is it? Nothing. It's just a candle. Just a candelabra. Why did his whole demeanor change all of a sudden? Gone pale as a ghost, too. Can't even see his eyes. Okay, he's dead. Nick, look at his stomach! He's bleeding! Somebody help! Literally anybody else in this room. The bull! Soren's collapsed! Master Soren! Get him to the hospital quickly now! So he was stabbed. Poor Soren, that must be one serious wound. What is it, Nick? Well, when I showed him the candelabra, his whole demeanor changed. I was just thinking that maybe his injury is... Huh? What's this? It's Soren's notebook. Must have dropped it in the rush to get him to the hospital. I think he dropped it in the rush to bleed on the ground, but, you know, the rest of them just ignored it. Oh, his notebook, huh? Wonder what's written in it. Don't you? Come on, you know you want to take a peek. Soren's notebook. What to do, what to do. Absolutely take a peek. I feel guilty snooping around somebody's personal notebook, but also someone's dead. Maybe we should take a little look-see. Whoa! Filled with big words written in tiny letters. And I don't feel guilty at all. Finders keepers, right? Guess he used this notebook to write down his invention ideas? Huh? What is it? Do you find something? After March 8th of last year, the content of the notebook changes dramatically. Like how? Well, it's covered in blood. Ever since that date, Soren's been writing down every detail of his life. As in, every. Maybe he decided to start keeping a diary? But this is way too detailed to be an ordinary diary. Either he's really compulsive, or maybe just plain forgetful. Was it really as simple as that? I feel like something happened on March 8th that made Soren change. Well, why don't you let me take a look at that and I'll tell you. Hey, Maya, let go or we'll rip it. Oh. Now look what you did. You dropped it. You should have just let me take a look. How is this my fault? How is this Maya's fault? Oh no, Nick. Ah, fell into that pool of Soren's blood. Can't read a thing in these 2 pages now. Uh-oh, you're gonna get it now. Ugh, guess it really is my fault after all. Let's just put it away carefully for now. Can't let anything else happen to it, you know? You hear? How convenient that we stained the only page. Hey, look, something's sticking out of the notebook. Looks like a newspaper article. Let's see. It's about the car accident Soren's sister died in. Happened on March 8th. That's the day Soren's notebook completely changed. Oh, wow. But what else does it say? It says the driver at the time of the accident was Dumas Gloomsbury. That Soren was in the car too, and that he had sustained severe injuries. Just like Pierce said. Soren completely changed after the accident. The plot thickens. The Gloomsbury was driving the car when they got into that accident. That opens up a distinct possibility of Soren holding a grudge against Gloomsbury. You think Soren could have... I don't know. Not like I have any proof. We should talk to Pierce about this when we return Soren's notebook to him. Though he doesn't seem to be here right now. Maybe he's at the Flying Chapel. Okay. I figured someone was stabbed, but... Guess we'll go here first. Ow. There hope Pierce is around here somewhere. Ah, Mr. Wright and Miss Fay. I'm here somewhere. Hello, Pierce. We were just looking for you. I'm sorry for Master Soren's sudden departure early. You have my sincerest apologies. You don't need to apologize for him bleeding out. It was totally understandable, really. He kind of was bleeding to death. But shouldn't you be at his side right now? It's fine. The other servants are with him, and I am in constant contact with them. Beep. Kind of a shame Athena doesn't meet this thing. Do not forget to give him his pain medication. Be sure to keep him hydrated. Also, see to it that he is not up and about. He needs complete bed rest. This is what happens when you're too rich for normal peasant phones? I must return to Master Soren now, but did you want something of me? Actually, here's Soren's notebook. He dropped it when he collapsed. Oh, Pierce doesn't notice the blood stain. Oh, thank you very much for this. I will see to it personally that Master Soren gets it back. Thank you. Why was that text so fast? I trust you did not look inside. Oh, of course not. Other than the one covered in blood. Because it's filled with numerous patent-worthy ideas, you see. Look, I know you're busy, but would you mind asking if I ask you a few questions about the case? Well, as I said, I must be getting back to Master Soren. But... so if you could make it quick, I would greatly appreciate it. Alright, I'll make this as quick as I can. Did you murder the guy? That was quite quick. I'd like to ask you about the cover-up you tried to pull off, if you don't mind. I told everything there is to tell in court already. Disposing of anything that may harm the Sprocket family's reputation is simply a part of my job. Sounds like a lovely job description. I have nothing more to say on the matter.
I will say I do not think it's wise to spend time on topics that have already been discussed.
Right. Yeah, it's like, don't worry if we did read anything. It's in one ear and out the other eye. Especially in Maya's case. She would see a cool idea and be like, now how could I make the Steel Samurai use that? I could have the Steel Samurai riding a giant aircraft shaped like a dinosaur and stab his enemies. Pierce, can you tell us more about this accident? Where did you find that? And did I not already tell you that it was about that accident? You did, but you conveniently left out one crucial detail. The fact that Dumas Gloomsbury was driving the car at the time. Indeed I did. Indeed I did. Oh, did I not mention that? I suppose it simply did not come up then. Mr. Gloomsbury caused the accident. Why didn't the Sprocket family fire him? Wouldn't that usually be the natural consequence of such a huge mistake? Please do not misunderstand. Gloomsbury stayed on with the family. On Master Soren's request. What? That is the type of person Master Soren is. Perhaps it's the influence of Miss Selina's kind nature. She was such a sweet person that even in her last moments she thought of Master Soren. Not only did Soren not hold a grudge against Gloomsbury, he insisted on keeping him on. Now I really don't understand how that guy's mind works. I mean, if he traveled back in time, there would be nothing to blame Gloomsbury for, right? You were present for Selina Sprocket's last moments? Yes, in my professional capacity. The accident happened on the way to a certain party. And what kind of party was it? It was Miss Selina's engagement party. Gloomsbury's injuries were minor, but Miss Selina and Master Soren's were critical. They were brought to the Sprocket family's regular hospital. Wow, to have such a terrible thing happen on what was to be a day of celebration. Thanks to the surgeon in charge, Master Soren pulled through. But Miss Selina, she... The last words that Miss Selina said to me were... Please help Soren. Ever since then, I've attended Master Soren and tried to help him in any way I can. I see. Selina's fiancé must have been devastated. Indeed, I was. The shock of losing Miss Selina was so great, he quit being a surgeon. He was a surgeon? Wait, so the surgeon who tried to save them both was he? Yes, he was Miss Selina's fiancé. What a terrible tragedy. How awful. Where is her fiancé now? Good question. I wonder that sometimes myself. So Selina had a fiancé. I'd like to find out more about him, but I doubt I'll find him anytime soon. So, I'll be done here. I'm afraid I must be going. Could you please just tell me a little more about Soren? There's nothing more to tell. I can't seem to get any real answers out of him just by asking him questions. But there is that piece of evidence I still don't know much about. Maybe he'll be able to tell me something about it. This again, huh? Candelabra, please? Pierce, have you ever seen this candelabra before? No, I don't know anything about it. 3? My Magatama reacted. Pierce must be trying to hide something from me. I have to break the psych locks and find out what. What is this strange rock? It's awfully shiny. Pierce, I'm about to pierce through your lies. You're hiding something from me about this candelabra, aren't you? It is one of the candelabras from the Flying Chapel, is it not? Even though I just said I've never seen it before. Is there something special about it, other than it being covered in blood? Actually, yes, there is some blood on it, you see? I think the blood might belong to this person. Selina. Soren has a rather nasty wound on his body, doesn't he? Ugh. You know, he did just go to the hospital. Yes, Master Soren is indeed injured. Are any other people involved in this case injured? Not as far as I know. I see. Let me ask you this, Pierce. Do you suppose Soren could have been more directly involved in your letting on? What in the world would make you think that? Oh, I've got my reasons. Mr. Gloomsbury's fingerprints were found on this candelabra's stem. Leads me to believe that Mr. Gloomsbury stabbed Soren with it. You cannot possibly think that Master Soren is the one responsible for the murder. I don't have any conclusive evidence of that at the moment, but I do think he had a motive. This proves that Soren had a motive to kill Mr. Gloomsbury. Even though it was an accident, Mr. Gloomsbury was the man responsible for taking Soren's sister away. Let us suppose that Gloomsbury did stab Master Soren with the candelabra. Can you prove that it had anything to do with this case? He might have been stabbed at some other location for some other reason. Sorry, but I can prove it was related to this case. Oh, really? Soren stabbing Mr. Gloomsbury's death are definitely connected. Are they now? This is the piece of evidence that ties Soren's injury to Mr. Gloomsbury's murder. A bloodstain was found on the side of the lift that goes between the hold and the vista deck. Its blood matches the blood on the candelabra. I obtained the results straight from the police, so I can assure you this information is correct. This bloodstained lift indicates an important fact. It shows us that Soren's blood on the lift, which could only mean one thing. He was there, wasn't he? Soren was at the scene of the crime. You're very astute, Mr. Wright. It appears I cannot hide this from you any longer. Very well, I will tell you everything. Oh. Unlock successful. Better not mention I am astute because of magical spirit powers. I'm gonna keep that one to myself. You tell me about Soren's injury? Very well. This is what I heard directly from Master Soren himself. As you surmise, Master Soren was stabbed by Gloomberry on the day of the murder. It happened after the first wedding reception. The happy couple was in the reception hall when suddenly Gloomsbury appeared. He attacked Miss Ellen and tried to take her away. Master Soren went to stop him and found himself in a struggle with Gloomsbury. That's when Master Soren was stabbed with the candelabra, he said. Even though Master Soren was badly injured, he went after Gloomsbury. So Soren really was at the scene of the murder, wasn't he? Yes, that is correct. However, by the time Master Soren arrived at the scene, Gloomsbury had already been murdered. So Pierce is saying that Soren was at the crime scene, but that he didn't have anything to do with the murder itself. Even still, why'd you try to keep such an important piece of information from me? I'm very sorry. Even though I don't sound it, Master Soren's injury and Gloomsbury's murder were not directly related. So I decided not to mention it, so as to not unnecessarily complicate the investigation. I assure you it would get complicated on its own. Now then. I am sorry, but I am afraid I must really go now. Please excuse me. Thank you for your time. Bye! Pierce should have just told us everything in the first place and saved us all a lot of time. Yeah, but I guess it isn't that simple for him. He is the family butler, after all. Sure didn't make our job any easier, though, did he? But, at least we learned something new. Soren was at the scene of the crime. That's true. One step forward is better than none. As long as we don't take 2 steps back. So what next, Nick? Let's see. Forensic team might be done investigating the reception hall by now. Let's go check it out. Sounds like a plan. Still haven't got an answer on this bench. That sign really got smashed out. There were really high winds yesterday. Jeez. Said the bench was blown right into the sign. Wow! I wish I could have seen that. I guess the bench wasn't actually in the airship, but if you'd been there, you would have gotten blown away by the wind too, you know. Sounds kind of fun, actually. Don't tell me you never tried to use an umbrella to fly when you were a kid. I think I'll take staying alive over fun, thank you very much. Yeah, Mary Poppins taught kids a lot of wrong lessons. September 22nd. Flying Chapel. Reception Hall. Looks like the police are done with their investigation in here. I wonder if it's okay for us to take a look around now. Oh, hi, Mr. Wright. Hi, Emma. We'll be alright if we investigate in this room now. Sure, the police are all done, so go for it. You'd think at some point they would trust you to just investigate with them. Oh, remember that broken lantern? I restored it to perfection. I have to say, it's some of my best work. Sounds like the repair job was a resounding success. Thanks, Emma. We'll take a good look at it, too. Well, I have to get going back to the station. Try not to mess up the crime scene if you can help it. We'll be careful. I'll be seeing you. Bye, Emma. Bye, Emma, and thank you. Well, shall we get started? Why is there just a random maid over here? I guess I'm not allowed to talk to her. What did she say about a resounding success? What did he say about a resounding success? Ah. The greatest repair job. Just a bunch of tape. Here's the broken lantern, all patched up, and I do mean patched. Well, at least it works. Emma said it was some of her best work, so I know she put a lot of effort into it. Okay, jeez. I thought they were gonna flash back to Emma saying it was her best work. You know, the thing that just happened. It was pretty smashed up. It must have been a lot of work to piece it back together. Well, she gets an A for effort, at any rate. Huh? This wheel handle on the back has some blood on it. We already knew that. Looks like somebody gripped it with a bloody hand. Maybe the blood got there when the killer was putting Doom and Gloom body inside? Yeah, they sure would. And flashbacks are important. Please flash back to when flashbacks were said to be important. Do you see anything else worth noting? Now there's another one of these lanterns over there, so it might be a good idea to really compare the two later. Oh. Now we get the patched up version in our record. Neat. Can we talk to the maid? Excuse me, is the fog machine ready to use now? No, I'm afraid not. We only put dry ice in it when there's actual reception. Otherwise, just a waste of ice. Ah, I see. That's too bad. Bill wants to blast me with a cloud of smoke, doesn't she? You'll note that wasn't a question. Whoop. Sparkle, sparkle. This is where the murder weapon, the timekeeper, was displayed. Guess it's police custody now. What's this? A key? Let's ask the maid about it. Good idea. Might be able to tell us something. Or nothing. Excuse me, could I ask you a question? You just did, but go on. Oh, of course. What would you like to know? Do you know anything about this key? It's the key that starts up the timekeeper. A startup key? That's right. Oh. The first startup of love ceremony was so beautiful. The bride and groom each had a symbol of their love, and when they put it together, oh, how romantic it was. First startup of love ceremony? What exactly did that entail? Oh, it's a ceremony in which the couple activated the timekeeper together for the first time. I suppose it was kind of like a cake-cutting ceremony, but, you know, the cake was a blimp and metal instead of a plastic. Whatever. And one of these symbols of their love you mentioned? Well, that's kind of an industry secret, so I can't really say. I'm sorry, I better be getting back to my work. Looks like there's an order from above not to talk about it. Back to my work, just rubbing this one window over and over again until I can see myself twice. Hey, I think that tablecloth's new. They must have changed it since yesterday. Huh? How can you tell?
Because the food stains that were there are now gone. I should have known it's because it's food related. She notices anything food related, even stains. Washed out plenty of her own, I'm sure. It's another beautiful day outside. Birds are singing. The sun is shining. People are dying, Nick. Yeah, if only it wasn't the scene of a murder, we could really enjoy it. Could you stop being a downer every time? True. Must be tough for the maids to have to work on a beautiful day like today. Oh, we don't mind. Whoa! Didn't think you could hear me way over here. What do you mean? You're standing beside me, aren't you? You don't think it's simply cleaning. It's more like we're wiping away all the sadness stuck to this airship. Wow. Talk about devoted. Now I guess we've checked out everything of interest in this area. What do you mean? What about this giant cow? Can we talk about the cow in the room? Is the unbroken Pegaboo lantern? This is the one that Emma restored. I see it in my mind's eye. Wouldn't say they look exactly the same, one of them is covered in tape. More that they're made of the same parts. Wait a minute. What is it, Maya? I think there's something off about this Pegaboo. About everything about it looks off to me, but sure. Well, the wing's broken, but... Not quite sure what it is, but some detail isn't quite right. Show me the restored lantern again. It's right in front of you. Hey, I know. It's this, right? What? Where? When? The thing about the restored lantern that's off is the... angle of the wings. I've got it. The angle of that wing is different. It's attached all wrong. Well, duh, Nick. I could have told you that. I mean, there's something more subtle. Something that feels just slightly off. You know what I mean? No, not really. Still, maybe it's... Okay. It's probably the shape of the horns, but... I want to hear what this one says. Look, it's the wheel handle. It's a different color altogether. Oh, it is. Emma got the inside and outside wheels handle switched around. Oh wow, you're right! Was that it? And there's blood on this handle, as if somebody gripped it with a bloody hand. Right. Which means that the blood got on the handle from the inside of the lantern. I see. So it was right. It wasn't the horns. Darn it. I stumble into success once again. I don't know, I figured she would sass me for saying that the... Yeah, of course the blood makes it look different, Nick. But I didn't really bother to notice that it was silver, because that one's silver. I couldn't see the other one. I think the blood got there when the killer was putting the body in the lantern? It's really hard to say at this point. Well, I mean, do we know whose blood that is? This way? Whoops. Hey, took a look at that door. Wonder where it goes. Can we open it up and see? Wait! Please don't open that! It's the emergency escape hatch. We'll die. He's directly outside. You'll fall to your death! Oof, that was a close one, huh, Maya? I'll say. I still kinda want to open it, though. Well, good thing that random maid was there, staring with her empty, dark eyes. I think we checked out everything relevant to this case. Wait, what are you doing here? Oh. Soren, shouldn't you be resting in bed? You're injured. How do you know about that? Never mind. My notebook. Have you seen my notebook? I can't find it anywhere. My notebook. I need my notebook. What's the matter with him? My notebook. I have to have... Master Soren. There he is. Master Soren, I told you to stay in bed. My notebook. Here you go. Yes, this is it. So Soren gets emotionally unstable without that notebook of his. Taking notes on that notebook. But has he gotta notice the giant blood stain? Phew.
Looks like he's calmed down now. Soren, do you mind if I talk to you for a minute? I cannot allow you to do that. What if his wound were to open up again? He needs to rest. You could put a bandage on it. I guess you're right. Now, if you'll excuse us. Master Soren, let us retire. Also, hey, a rare two-person view. Alright. There they go! Here's his ride. I guess he really isn't in any condition to be questioned. Well, let's go back to the agency and sort through what we've learned. And maybe save Athena. Maybe. We're back! Anybody here? Oh, hi, boss. Athena, I thought you were with Trucy. I guess you could say that I'm taking a short break. Fixing some burn wounds. But enough about me. How about you? What about the investigation? Did you find out anything? Well, it turns out the third person Ellen says she saw at the crime scene might have been Soren Sprocket. What? Really? I always thought he seemed suspicious. You've never met him. Thing is, by the time Soren got to the Vista deck, the murder had already occurred, apparently. No way, I don't buy that, not for a second. It's a cover-up, I tell you. That's certainly a possibility. And as a lawyer, it's certainly a possibility I have to pursue, but... But what, it's your job, right? So pursue the heck out of it. Just do it. Yeah, but we're not a... Is that really what's best for Ellen? Soren could be found guilty if the truth comes out tomorrow. If we don't pursue this possibility, Ellen could be found guilty instead. Oh man, either way, it sure doesn't spell happily ever after for the two of them. So what are you gonna do, Mr. Wright? I can't let an innocent person get convicted. I guess all I can really do is pursue the truth. Even if it ends up devastating Ellen. What a tough call to make. Still, there's always a chance, right? Maybe something will come up during the trial that will save their marriage. I hope so, I really do. Well, Maya, let's go. Break the news to Ellen, you mean? Yep. Mr. Wright, please take me with you. I bet I can help you and counsel Ellen through this piece of bad news, right? Athena, I appreciate the offer, but don't you have somewhere else to be? Do I? I can't think of any place to be. Athena, what are you doing here? I've been looking all over for you. Come on now, let's get back to practicing. No, wait. My body can't take it anymore. Boss, you gotta help me. Well, a lawyer always keeps their promises, Athena. Boss! If you're bailing me one more time, Athena, I'm gonna use a real blade on you. Trucy, no threatening people in the office, please. Sorry, Athena, but somebody's gotta do it. Better you than me, though. Literally throwing Athena under the Trucy bus. Hang in there, kiddo! What's it gonna take to get Apollo back? Come on, Maya, we better get going before you're roped into that, too. You know, Trucy could make spirit channeling a pretty useful magic trick, right? Like, watch as this person turns into another person! They'd have to figure out who's gonna be channeled. Hello, Ellen? How did your investigation go, Mr. Wright? Before I answer that, I need to ask you something. Was Soren with you when Mr. Gloomsbury attacked you in the reception hall? I'm sorry I kept it from you. I was afraid that he'd come under suspicion if I told you. I kept quiet about it. I'm really sorry. I see. Thought it was probably something like that. Listen, Ellen. I'm afraid I have to make a very difficult decision based on what I found out. What kind of decision? This is very hard for me to say, but... the mysterious person you saw at the scene of the crime was most likely Soren. What? In other words, in court tomorrow, I'm afraid I have to propose the possibility that Soren is the true culprit. No. Soren is innocent. No. But don't you see? If I don't try to pursue that line of thought, you'll be found guilty. No. No. No! Please, Ellen, calm down. Wah. Someone just can't be found guilty. I'd much rather be found guilty instead. Ellen, you can't let yourself think like that. But, no.
Marriage is for life, right? Do you really think you can run away from the truth and still be happy with him? Well, you're not married, so how can you possibly understand? Sometimes you just gotta do whatever it takes to make things work. But, Nick, you talk to her. Hey, don't just dump this all on me. I may have a kid, but I'm not married either. Mr. Wright, I'm innocent, and so it is too. So please, prove our innocence in court. I'll certainly do everything in my power. I just hope she doesn't lose control like this in court tomorrow. Well, we did it. We investigated. Now, will we have a day 3, or will this be it? Spoiler, I think this is probably it. Unless some other convoluted nonsense comes out of left field. I know, I'll just channel Mr. Gloomsbury and get his testimony. One thing we found out yesterday is that Sora was there at the crime scene. I only hope I can get some testimony from him that'll get to the heart of the matter, or, you know, any testimony from him at all. Mr. Wright. Good morning, Ellen. Look, I'm afraid you might not like the result of today's trial. Nevertheless... Don't tell me you're still thinking of going down that route. Sora is innocent. Can't be found guilty. I'll kill you. Take me instead. Ellen, please, try to get a hold of yourself. And less a hold of that pan. Okay. I did it. I believe in Sora with all my heart. So how dare you doubt him? Regardless of which of them is found guilty today, it's gonna be devastating for Ellen, isn't it? We'll just have to do everything we can. That's the best we can do, you know?
Trial's about to begin, Mr. Wright.
Alright, let's go, Maya. Yeah, whatever. Do. September 23, 9 a.m. exactly. Why do they do this every time? Oh well. Court is now in session. There's Edgeworth. What's with the guy on the left? Looked like he was wearing a hat. Like a pointy hat. Court is back in session for the trial of Ellen Watt. Did you miss me, by the way? Defense is ready, Your Honor, and still dressed in this ridiculous shirt. The prosecution's ready, Your Honor. Let's see now. Where were we? We were here, sir. In yesterday's session, we found out about the Sprocket family's conspiracy to cover up the murder of Dumas Gloomsbury with a section reception. Taking advantage of the collective shock, the defense, as usual, made a nonsensical claim. Namely, that there was a third person present who struck the victim. Objection? Rude. Hey, don't try to make it sound like I made it all up. I know you quite well, Mr. Wright. Defendant herself made a statement about the existence of a third person. Further investigation only proven her statement to be true. I presume the defense intends to focus on proving the identity of this third person. Is that all right with you, Mr. Edgeworth? Indeed, Your Honor. In fact, I predict the defense will, most likely, attempt to name Mr. Soren Sprocket as the true culprit. How did you... The driver during the accident that killed Mr. Sprocket's sister was the victim. Therefore, Mr. Sprocket had a motive to murder Mr. Gloomsbury. That's what you plan to assert, is it not, Mr. Wright? Am I that transparent? Only to me, I assure you. Come now, Mr. Wright. Did you really think the police wouldn't uncover this information? They didn't uncover a bloodstain on a candelabra, so yes? And also on an elevator that they used, so yes? Congrats on getting it done, Mr. Edgeworth. Pepe. You're wrong. Miss Soren didn't do it. He's innocent. Miss Watt, please. He's innocent, I tell you. What is this, Mr. Wright? I thought your claim about the existence of a third person came from the defendant. It did. This is just a minor hiccup. Did you not discuss your strategy for today with the defendant, Mr. Wright? Starting off on the wrong foot again is seriously cutting into my lifespan. I'm gonna live for about another year. It appears that the defense is in disarray. Therefore, the best way to clear things up is to ask Mr. Sprocket himself what happened. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call him Soren Sprocket to the stand. What? Very well. Bailiff, please bring in Mr. Sprocket to the witness stand. Now, will Edgeworth get fed up with this guy? As he'll refuse to say anything. Or he'll talk in paper airplanes. Witness, please state your name and occupation. I hate being right, but I always am. Ow! Oh, I'm disappointed they didn't animate it actually hitting the judge. They animated Taka landing on his head. Why not that? Something written on this paper airplane. Let's see. Soren Sprocket, Managing Director of Sprocket Aviation. Mr. Sprocket, please give your answers in words, not paper airplanes. Well, I mean, spoken words, not written words. Now then, Mr. Sprocket. Please tell the doubting lawyer there what really happened at the time of the crime. Well, Mr. Sprocket. Mr. Sprocket. And now you see what I have to deal with. Alright. I'd almost rather deal with Old Bag. Almost. Let me talk about what happened when the crime occurred. In other words, after the first wedding reception. When Ellen and I were in the reception hall, right? Not even the power of the court can stop him from marching to the beat of his own drum. You know, his own flyer. I was stabbed by Dumas in the reception hall and I collapsed to the floor. Next thing I saw was Ellen and Dumas on the Vista deck. I knew Ellen was in danger, so I headed for the Vista deck. When I got there, Dumas was already... I don't want to believe it, but it must have been Ellen. Nothing else makes sense. Wait just a minute here. You actually think Miss Watt killed the victim? That's right. Dumas was killed by Ellen. This is unbelievable. How can you suspect your bride, the woman you love? Objection? Objection? The truth can be cruel. Miss Watt, you must be very upset. Is there anything you wish to say? Oh. No, I can't believe this. Soren, I thought that at least you would believe in me. The best way now to show your love for your groom is to admit your guilt and try to atone. Soren. Hold it. Mr. Edgeworth, I haven't even cross-examined the witness yet. Quit picking on the clearly distraught. Yeah, that's so not cool, Mr. Edgeworth. Court is where we seek the truth. And the truth is unyielding even to the truly pitiful. Mr. Edgeworth, I find it distasteful to make a lady cry. Et tu, Your Honor. Et tu, Mr. Edgeworth, et tu. What are you gonna do, Nick? The third person Ellen saw on the Vista deck was Soren. Then we have to prove Soren was there at the time of the murder. I don't see any obvious inconsistencies in his testimony, but you have to push forward. It's the only thing we can do. Yeah. Okay, why? Please tell me everything you can about the time you got stabbed. About when you got stabbed. After the reception, Ellen and I were enjoying a moment alone in the reception hall. Then Dumas appeared and stabbed me. It was pretty rude. He grabbed Ellen and the timekeeper and left the reception hall. Did Mr. Gloomsbury say anything at the time? I don't remember. Kind of bleeding out. After I was stabbed, I was immobilized by the pain. I see. Yeah, that makes sense. And yes, I'm making him sound like a huge nerd. Sorry if that's annoying. The Vista deck, huh? But it was nighttime then. Could you really see them in the darkness? I am the darkness. The moon was out, so I could see them clearly. From the looks of it, Dumas was trying to push Ellen and the timekeeper off to the side. Off the side. So you saw the defendant about to be thrown off the airship, you say? That's right. In such a desperate situation, it would only be natural for her to fight for her life. And the murder weapon was right there within her grasp, except it wasn't. Nowhere near her. This isn't going well at all. Got to do something fast. I understand your bride was in danger, but were you really able to move with a stab wound to the gut? I was desperately trying to push the pain out of my mind. I see. So adrenaline kicked in and gave you strength, is that right? I don't see much of anything in the statement that can refute. That's right. I almost passed out several times as I made my way to the Vista deck. Did he not use the elevator? Are you absolutely sure, Mr. Sprocket, that by the time you got to the Vista deck, the murder had already been committed? Yes. But the Vista deck is just on the other side of the glass windows in the reception hall. Shouldn't you have been able to get there right away? Objection? Mr. Wright, have you investigated nothing? The only way to the Vista deck is to go through the hold and take the lift. No matter how much one hurries, it would take at least 10 minutes. Well, that's unhelpful. The sword had to have gotten there before the murder, or my claim won't stand. You have any ideas for me, Maya? Definitely easier to prove that someone did go to the hold than not. I mean, you can't leave anything if you don't go someplace, right? What? Can't leave anything? Wait a minute. I think Maya's onto something here. Lack of certain something actually proves that Soren didn't go to the hold. What's the matter? Are you stumped already? No, I'm far from stumped, Mr. Edgeworth. I know for a fact Mr. Sprocket didn't go to the hold. You and your paper-thin bluffs. Mr. Sprocket's bloodstain on the lift proves he went through the hold. What possible proof could you have that he did not, in fact, go through there? You want proof? You got it. You can do this, Phoenix. Gotta be proof that Soren didn't go through the hold. Well, Mr. Wright. Let's prove that Mr. Sprocket didn't go through the hold. The hold entry record? Dumas, Pierce, Snickety, and Ellen. It's the only thing I can think of. Anyone can see from the hold entry record, there's absolutely no mention of Soren Sprocket entering the hold. Defense asserts that Mr. Sprocket used a different route to get to the Vista deck. You can assert all you want, Mr. Wright, but can you actually prove another route exists? Can I prove the existence of another route to the Vista deck, you ask? Can I look at the map? Yeah. I think the answer is not yet. Well, now I really think about it, I guess it's going to be hard to prove. I can't back down now. Trial will be over if I do. The only thing I can do at a time like this. Bluff! I could prove it. Alright. My choice didn't matter. It was just a bluff. I had to present something. Anything to prove the existence of a faster route to the Vista deck. Very well then, Mr. Wright. So show us how Mr. Sprocket got to the Vista deck. Oh, right, the door. Duh. I forgot, I couldn't see it on the map. Well, I didn't see it on the first map. Mr. Sprocket made for the Vista deck through here! To save his bride from danger, Mr. Sprocket... Oh no, he looks cool. Opened the escape hatch and made his way along the outside wall to the Vista deck. Isn't that right, Mr. Sprocket? That would certainly be much faster route to the Vista Deck.
Objection. I'm disappointed, Mr. Wright. Is that really the best you can muster? That escape hatch is not meant to be used to get from the reception hall to the Vista Deck. One slip, and that's all it would take for Mr. Sprocket to turn into Mr. Splat and plunge to his death.
I have to agree, the Prince's claim is really stretching it.
I understand how this sounds, Your Honor. But at this point, it's too early to definitively say that he didn't go that way.
So that's what you're going with then, I take it?
Of course, Your Honor. This is real life, Mr. Wright, not some cinematic drivel or comic book. I think. Do you have some sort of logical explanation to share what convinces us of your claim?
I do.
Are you sure, Nick? Kinda? Actually, I have nothing. So I'll just have to wing it somehow. Like I always do.
On what do you base your theory that the Mr. Sprocket made his way along the outside?
My theory that he was able to go along the outside wall despite the danger is based on... I mean, it's this, right? I kinda want to see the other ones, though. Does anyone want to see the other ones? I did save it. But I could also stumble into the right answer accidentally. Maybe it was the power of money. Capitalism allows him to defy physics. I mean, God needs a paycheck, right? Ow. Ouchie, ouch. Sorry, stretching. What is the god of physics? Or who is the god of physics, I guess? I don't know if they ever really established one. I mean, like Greek and Roman stuff, I mean. Although I guess one of their guys was just a guy holding up the world, so then they probably didn't really think about it. But I'm gonna go with the power of love, and it's probably not right. Yeah, we'll go for money first. It's funny. The power of money! Mr. Sprocket used the clout of currency to move along that wall. After all, you can make anything in this world move with money. Even yourself. Mr. Sprocket's a rich man, so he simply threw his money around to make it happen. That was kind of a bogus thing to say, Nick. Huh?
I sense you have something against the wealthy.
Truly a remark that reflects the meager state of your soul and your piggy bank.
I don't think money could have helped Mr. Sprocket in this situation. What's more, I suggest you work on enriching your own spirit, Mr. Wright.
Well, I think that was worth it. But also, Edgeworth's one to talk. Driving around in a stinking sports car. Meanwhile, Phoenix still rides a bike. I think. Did he ever get his license? I don't think that's ever been a plot point. To save the bride he loves, the groom risked his life and rushed to her side. Mr. Sprocket was able to make it to the Vista Deck despite the danger. Because of the power of love! Honestly, just as bogus as the power of money, but... The power of love! It does ring well with me, though. Love is a source of strength that can help one overcome any obstacle. I think I can relate, thanks to my own long, happy marriage. I think it'd be nice to meet the judge's wife. Wow, he actually seems to be buying it. Objection! The power of love, you say? That kind of illogical argument is hardly viable in a court of law. I'm the law up here, you know. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? Nope, not at all. I'm afraid not, Mr. Edgeworth. You should never underestimate the power of love. You'll understand one day when you get mad. Which I won't. Okay. Exactly what is wrong with wishing to remain unwed. Way to set him off, Your Honor. I'm married to the Steel Samurai and nothing else! Never mind all this unscientific nonsense. Are you aware, Mr. Wright, that at the time of the crime...
There was a huge propeller turning at full speed between the hatch and the vista deck. Even if a person were to go outside through the hatch. Aha, but that's not true. Woo! Wow, they even shrank it. They'd be blown away in an instant. Where does your power of love get you now, Mr. Wright? A huge spinning propeller, you say? I mean, love could probably dent that. But in that case, I have to admit it does seem impossible. Should have known. Nick, can't make that kind of face in front of your client. It's the only face I have, Maya. The worst of times when lawyers have to force their biggest smiles, right? Thanks, Mia. I mean Maya. Right. I feel like I just saw Mia looking at me through Maya's eyes. What's wrong, Nick? Why are you gaping at me like a giant sunfish? Is that your big smile? Please stop smiling. Thank you, Maya. You just helped me remember something really important. There it is. There's that fearless smile I was looking for. Give us a mind-blowing theory, just like you always do. I have to turn my thinking around. Instead of wondering how Soren could have moved past that huge propeller, I have to think about what would have made it possible for him to do so. Your Honor. Mr. Wright only makes that ridiculous face when his back is pressed up against the wall, which is always behind him. Therefore, please do here and give your ruling oh, dang it. I was too slow. I shouldn't have added such description to what I need you to do. Mr. Edgeworth, still far too early to discount my theory. What are you talking about? The airship's large spinning propellers have already shredded it to pieces. But if we think a little more outside the box, I'm sure we can find a way he could have made it. Stop trying to stall, Mr. Wright, and show us how it could have been even remotely possible, if at all. I must agree with Mr. Edgeworth. Very well, Your Honor. Well, must have been some way. Some way that Soren could have moved along the wall in spite of the propeller. Now then, Mr. Wright, what specifically would have made it possible? This is how it would have been possible for Mr. Sprocket to get to the vista deck. Ta-da! It allowed Mr. Sprocket to go along the outside wall in spite of the propellers. Is the location of the flying chapel at the time of the crime. Location of the flying chapel? But wasn't it flying high in the sky? I'm afraid not. Oh. Almost said what he was going to. No, Your Honor, I'm afraid it wasn't. What? Then where was it? At the time of the murder, the airship wasn't flying through the sky, but moored to the ground. What? You'd think we would have noticed that. And if the airship wasn't flying, then that means the propellers weren't turning. Oh. His pencil actually does just send lead flying out. Does it have a limit? Of course not. In which case... Oh yeah, on my desk rant earlier, I did find that I have like 40 pencils. So that's fun. Mr. Sprocket could have gotten to the vista deck along the outside wall. Isn't that right, Mr. Sprocket? Oh. I've done that with at least 20 of them. I don't remember. Ow, he stabbed himself with his pencil. That's gonna leave a mark. What is it with this guy and getting stabbed? Even with if the propellers weren't turning, it would have been far too risky to go that way. Ah, but Mr. Edgeworth, you're forgetting about the power of love. I don't even know what that means. Yes, the amazing power of love. Not this again. Very well, for the sake of argument, let's assume the so-called power of love made it possible for Mr. Sprocket to move along the outside wall of the airship. Can you prove that the airship was tied to the ground as you claim, Mr. Wright? Well, you think we'd have records on this. Any evidence that proves the airship where the airship was at the time? If you can prove it, can't you? Maya, can you think of anything we'd use to prove it? I can't say I can. Oh, wait. Didn't somebody see something outside the window at the time of the crime? I think I remember someone saying as much. But for some reason, my brain is just refusing to remember who that was. Almost like it's a defense reflex. Do I have a piece of evidence that shows what was outside the airship? Well, what are you waiting for? This piece of evidence shows what was outside the airship at the time of the crime. Larry's stupid drawing. Which I think I just went past. I did. This piece of evidence shows what was outside the airship at the time of the murder. What kind of lousy drawing is that? It's a drawing made by Larry Butz. Ah, that does explain the lousiness. And what can you prove with that poor attempted artistry? Larry made this drawing before he switched the lanterns, so it must have been right around when the murder was being committed. Now, if I could direct the court's attention here... Oh, I didn't have to point at it. I thought I would. Is that a pterodactyl? Wait, have we done this before? Does that mean the airship actually went back in time to the Cretaceous period? Objection! Ugh. We've already proved that time travel is nothing more than a gimmick, did we not? Hello, Trump.
Hello.
Is he laying on his back again? I don't think so. We did, and I have no intention of bringing up that argument again. This drawing shows an important piece of information. It shows us that the airship was actually moored to the ground. And what makes you so sure? That's easy. All you have to do is consider who made this drawing. That makes me trust it less, right? Larry. That's right. It was Mr. Butz. And we both know what he's like. He must have seen something else and mistaken it for a pterodactyl. I can't refute that. I can't argue with you there. Hey! I just one doggone second. What kind of moron do you guys take me for? The butt of the joke. I saw it with my own eyes. A pterodactyl flew right past the window, I tell you. It was the shape of... I have the sharp eyes of an artist. Don't you believe me? No. Not even a little bit. Nick. I was thinking the same thing. It's like he probably said that with as much venom as possible. Larry. I think Old Bag's probably the only other person that gets under his skin as much as Larry. But sadly, she has not been around. That'd be a real time travel. Yeah, he doesn't lie except to himself. That's Larry. Nope. Some friends you guys are. What about a judge? You believe me, right, Your Honor? Not even a little bit. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid you need to leave this courtroom. Oh, jeez. Bailiff, if you would. Wow, that's harsh even for you. True. If the judge is alive, then Old Bag's probably around. Or maybe she's in space. She was an astronaut, right? Or, you know, pretending to be one. Come on, buddy. Oh, wrong person. Come on, buddy, let's go. Why doesn't anybody believe me? No. Don't take it personally, Larry. I know you're just being, well, you. Take it personally, Larry. So then, now you're saying that what Mr. Butz really saw bears some relation to what was outside the airship at the time of the murder. Yes, Your Honor. At least I think it does. What this pterodactyl really is will prove the airship was anchored to the mooring deck. It better, anyway. If it doesn't, my whole argument is a bust. If you're that confident about it, then please go ahead and tell us what it really was. Yes, Your Honor. Whoop. So, I mentioned it earlier, but I did notice... Think, Phoenix. What could that pterodactyl have actually been? I did notice that this had a beak. Please take a good look at this sign. At the sign? The signs are there. Appears to have been broken, and then repaired. What does the sign have to do with the pterodactyl? Please focus on this part of the sign. Whoop. The part that broke off and got reattached, what about it? How about if we turn it like this? Oh yeah, if you turn it around, it actually does look like a pterodactyl. Spooky. Oh, that shape! Also, how did you do that? It's the pterodactyl of the drawing! What Mr. Butz actually saw was this chunk as it was being blown through the air by the wind. What?
How convenient. But he must have been going really fast. How did he see that? On the day of the murder, there was some heavy winds in the area of the mooring deck. But it's hard to imagine this sign would make it up as high as the airship would fly. That means the flying chapel must have been anchored to the mooring deck that night. Isn't that right, Mr. Sprocket? Yeah. That's more than enough of this power of love nonsense, you pop culture junkie. Coming from Mr. Steel Samurai. Present all the proof you want, but your argument is based far too much on conjecture. Why don't we return to reality now? What do you mean, too much conjecture? Even if the airship wasn't flying, that alone doesn't prove the witness went along the wall. True. Even now, it's no more than a possibility. And how do you propose Mr. Sprocket got to the Vista deck, Mr. Edgeworth? I noticed something as I went over the evidence. Please take a look at this hold entry record. What about it? I don't see Mr. Sprocket listed on here anywhere. Don't you remember? In yesterday's session, we had a very similar kind of argument. Did we? Did you already forget? Honestly, Mr. Wright, are you going to senile already? We talked about Larry Butz using the defendant's keycard to enter the hold. Oh, we did talk about that, didn't we? In other words, even if a person's name isn't on the entry record, it's still possible for the person to have entered by using someone else's keycard. Mr. Sprocket, you entered the hold with Mr. Nicketies, didn't you? No, yes, I did. What? Why didn't you tell us that in the first place? Pierce is indispensable. I didn't want to mention him unnecessarily and risk having him wrongly accused. I couldn't do without him. Mr. Sprocket, I asked you to testify in greater detail about your movements that night. Well, we finally got to the second testimony. The truth. Truth is, I went to the Vista deck with Pierce. That's why my name doesn't appear in the hold entry record. I was badly injured from being stabbed, but I was frantic. By the time he reached the scene, it was all over. Well, this doesn't help me one bit. Mr. Sprocket, you've concealed information from us time and time again. Who do you think you are, treating this court of law with such irreverence? That being said, I do appreciate the testimony you gave just now. So, take that. Thanks to you, we now know why your name doesn't appear on the entry record. Now, there are no more inconsistencies in the witness's testimony. That's Mr. Edgeworth for you. He never leaves a loose end dangling. You okay, Nick? I wouldn't exactly call the situation okay. Somehow I'll have to coax the information we need for an opening out of him. I even can, that is. I mean, don't we need Pierce? Yeah, went to visit Nick with Pierce. Hold it. You didn't mention this because you didn't want Mr. Nicody to fall under suspicion, right? Nickety. Jeez. Why can I not say Nickety? I say Nick all the time. Well, at least when Maya does it. That's because he has something to hide. I just didn't want the police to take up his time with all the questions, that's all. Neither the company nor the house would function smoothly without him. I see. Wow, sounds like Pierce is absolutely indispensable to the Sprockets. Anyway, getting back to your statement, when did you meet up with Mr. Nickety? He met up on my way to the Vista deck. I think Pierce and some of my relatives were on another floor. But Pierce heard the commotion and came running to my aid. You could hear the pandemonium all the way from another floor? Mr. Wright, would you like the current statement to be added to the witness's testimony? Yeah. Yes, please, Your Honor. Weird that you're the one asking. Very well. Waste your dang time if you want to. He came running, but where did he come running from? Mr. Nickety come alone? I believe some of his subordinates were with him, but I don't remember exactly how many or who they are.
They're not named, so they're not important. They say there were others, but seeing how they pulled that second reception off, I can't completely trust anything he has to say either. I see. So you and Mr. Nickety and a few others head to the Vista deck, is that right? That's right. What do I have that proves that they couldn't have done that, other than literally everything? Do I have anything about sound itself? Weird that the third person one is also still there, but... Well, actually, if there were a lot of people there, then it couldn't be the person she saw. I wonder if there's a second one. I don't know which one to present yet. Your name doesn't appear on the hold entry record, because you entered with Mr. Nickety using his keycard. That's right. So I guess the hold entry record doesn't matter as much as we thought. Now that Soren's saying he was with Pierce and a few others, it's pretty tough to refute that statement. What's the matter, Mr. Wright? Cat got your tongue? Did you finally realize there was no point in continuing this trial any longer? Of course not. The cat doesn't have my tongue, it has this dragon on my shirt. Wipe that smug look off your face. See if I invite you to Trucy shows. Mr. Sprocket, please continue with your testimony. Speaking of your injury, how are you doing now? Yeah, the knife wound's deep and continues to throb with pain. Fortunately, my internal organs were spared. The one wrong move would have spelled the end for me there. Even so, I've seen you up and about all over the place since the incident. I'm only following my doctor's orders to perform some daily light exercises. Mr. Wright, would you like to have Mr. Sprocket's statement about his condition added to his testimony? Not that it appears to be especially relevant to me. Should I have him added to his testimony? Why not? Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to have it added to this testimony. Hello, Ellie. I see. Very well. Whatever. Do whatever the heck you want, I don't care. Knife wound's quite deep and continues to throb with pain. Knife? Your injury was really that deep? Luckily, it missed my internal organs. Otherwise, I wouldn't be alive right now. According to his doctor, his injury will take about 3 weeks to heal. There's no way someone with that kind of injury could have gone along with the outside wall. Yeah. But he might have been able to with the burst of adrenaline brought on by the pain. Adrenaline, adrenaline. Is that your answer to everything? I might have a drug problem. In a court of law, the only thing that matters is evidence, not rampant speculation or adrenaline. He's admitted scientific rampant speculation. May I continue? Yes, of course. Whatever. Do whatever the heck you want. Time he reached the scene, it was all over. One more to press. You still insist that you reached the Vista deck after the murder had occurred. Is that correct? Yes, that's right. Alan must have killed him. There's no other explanation. Guess whether Pierce was with Soren or not doesn't change the outcome. I guess not. In fact, more witnesses actually makes it worse for us. Another cover-up, huh? Soren has too many secrets, but he's still hiding other things too. That's definitely a possibility. In a situation like this, what we have to do is go back to the basics. You mean go over the testimony and check for any lies or inconsistencies? You got it. Alright, Nick, let's go for it. There's a knife here, but he was stabbed by a candelabra, right? I'm gonna do the save thing just so we don't have to deal with hits. But hey, if this does a hit, whatever. I don't care anymore. Objection! Hey, it worked. It was the candelabra. Mr. Sprague, you just said your injury is a knife wound, didn't you? Yes, that's right. He was stabbed by a candelabra. But he was stabbed by a candelabra. Candelabra? What? Candelabra? 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 Candel
But the weapon you were stabbed with was this candelabra. A fact I know you're quite aware of. I think I already have most of the general thing figured out, but I don't get it, so I'm probably wrong.
Very well. This is what I heard directly from Master Sorn himself. As you surmise, Master Sorn was stabbed by Gloomsbury on the day of the murder. It happened after the first wedding reception.
I don't like this picture. Something's wrong with one of his fingers. It's the top of it's weird.
The happy couple was in the reception hall when suddenly Gloomsbury appeared. He attacked Miss Ellen and tried to take her away. Master Sorn went to stop him and found himself in a struggle with Gloomsbury. That's when Master Sorn was stabbed with the candelabra, he said.
Yeah.
Objection. Must have been simple memory slip that made him misspeak. It happens to everyone. And usually it leads to the truth being found out, so I don't know what I'm objecting to. Nothing to do with the case. You must be pretty desperate to point out something is so minute.
Yeah. I have to agree, Mr. Wright. You hardly need to make such a big deal over such a small mistake. But I can contend that it's important inconsistency. Besides, I couldn't find anything else. This is the only thing that I have to go after.
I say it's not important. Now let's not waste any more time on this matter.
I agree. Everybody has a little memory lapse every now and then. Especially me.
But Your Honor, please let me explain.
But can you? Can you really explain this to the court what makes the slip so important?
Yes, I can, Your Honor. After all, it was Sorn himself who told Pierce that he had been stabbed by a candelabra. More than a simple memory slip. There has to be some kind of reason for it.
Well, Mr. Wright, please explain why the witness's slip of the tongue is so important.
The point of the focus here is why the witness would mistake the weapon used to stab him. Think carefully, Phoenix. This could very well change the course of the trial.
I see. So why did the witness make that mistake, Mr. Wright?
Mr. Sprocket identified the wrong weapon used against him because... Is Pierce lying? He did do that before. He was lying. He doesn't remember the incident, let alone the weapon used against him. Not only that, but I believe Mr. Sprocket has been some sort of memory disorder. Therefore, the defense contends that Mr. Sprocket's testimony thus far is invalid. Or maybe he wasn't lying. Just because you can't find a flaw in his testimony, you want to throw it all out? Your baseless claim is nothing but pure slander of the witness's character.
Mr. Edwards is correct, Mr. Wright. Can you explain your grounds for making this claim?
Of course, Your Honor. Think of what Sorn has said and how he's behaved. That's where I'll find the clue.
Very well. Let's hear your argument, then.
My grounds for claiming that Mr. Sprocket has a memory disorder is... his taciturn personality. His airplane pen. It has to be the pen, right? He makes it go around because his head is always in the clouds. The notebook he always has with him. I saw daily events and information about the people around him recorded in it.
Like a diary, perhaps?
No, Your Honor. Much too detailed to be an ordinary diary. More on the order of a database, actually.
A database, you say?
That's right. For some reason, Mr. Sprocket is apparently unable to retain memories. That's why he writes every little detail of his life down in his notebook.
How could you possibly know that for sure? He might just be an extremely compulsive person, like me.
I thought so too myself, at first. To be honest, we accidentally got a stain on that notebook yesterday.
You mean you got a stain on it?
You were involved with it. Take credit.
You're the one who tried to grab it out of my... Objection. Never mind whose fault it was. Just get to the point already.
Right, sorry. Mr. Sprocket. The page Miss Faye got a stain on yesterday, you got a stain on. That's the page with details of your stabbing, isn't it? No, I write in this notebook because I'm very compulsive. Which is what he said. Now drop the subject already. Sorry, but I'm not convinced. I noticed an odd fact about your notebook, Mr. Sprocket.
On the earlier pages, you used it to write down invention ideas. But after a certain date, you started writing down a lot more and in much more detail. I see. So the comment about him not remembering Phoenix was actually another hint. I thought it was just, you know, him being kind of a jerk because, well, Phoenix is pretty forgettable when you're against him. I believe your memory disorder stems from what happened on that date. Something so monumental it caused a memory disorder, Mr. Wright? You don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, but I do know what I'm talking about. And this is the proof. This is the thing that caused Mr. Sprocket's memory disorder. You were involved in this car accident too, weren't you, Mr. Sprocket? And the shock of losing your beloved older sister is what caused you to develop your memory disorder. Is this true, Mr. Sprocket? Well, is it? Yeah. Mr. Sprocket. Yeah, it's true. The accident did something to my mind. What? And definitely not the head trauma from going through a windshield or something. Ever since that day, every time I go to sleep, I lose my memories. And when I wake up, the most recent thing I can remember is the day I lost my sister. It's as if I'm constantly going back in time. What? That's truly tragic. An inconsolable time traveler goes back in time whenever he goes to sleep. Besides, time travelers do exist, you know. But you wouldn't understand. I don't know if that counts. But that's what Soren meant. He was talking about himself. The reactions of people around me each time I awoke made me aware of my condition. That's why I decided to write everything down in my notebook, so I could move forward. The only memories you have since that day are the ones written in that notebook. That's right. And since the page about your stabbing got stained, you couldn't read from it, could you? There's one more thing I'd like you to clarify for me, Mr. Sprocket. Exactly what are your feelings towards the victim? Mr. Sprocket's feeling towards Dumas Gloomsbury? That's right, Your Honor. The witness said that every time he wakes up from sleep, his mind goes back to the day his sister died. Mr. Wright, you can't mean... Mr. Sprocket. Your pent-up feelings of anger and resentment towards Mr. Gloomsbury for the accident were renewed each and every time you woke, were they not? But you couldn't take it anymore, so you turned to murder, isn't that right? What? Mr. Wright, are you saying that the witness murdered Mr. Gloomsbury for revenge? Well, Mr. Sprocket? I don't remember. And Ellen. Miss Watt? Your Honor, I did it. I killed Mr. Gloomsbury. No. What? No, Your Honor, please. Miss Watt, what are you trying to do? To tell me you still thinking of going that route. Soren is innocent, can't be found guilty. Take me instead. Ellen, please, try to get a hold of yourself. I guess she really meant it. My Soren didn't do anything wrong. I'm the one who should be convicted. I understand that you're confessing your guilt. No. Now wait just a minute here. Hold it. Ellen, why would you cover for me? After I testified, I thought you must have killed him. I'll admit, I couldn't believe my ears at first. But all I want is for you to be happy. Your happiness is my happiness, Soren. But without my notebook, I'd even forget those feelings of yours by tomorrow. Knowing that, do you still feel this way? You've loved me all this time, the same way you did before the accident. That's how I know that you're the same person I've always loved. No disorder can change that.
Ellen. Your Honor, there are two things I'd like to correct. Two corrections? What are they? Two? First of all, I want to withdraw one of my statements. Let's flash back to when I said that. That's right, Dumas was killed by Ellen. Without memories to rely on, I took the police completely at their word.
You can't be serious.
So that means... Soren never really doubted Ellen in the first place, did he, Nick? Ellen really does love Soren with all her heart. In order to save her, I'll still have to go after Soren. I hope you can forgive me, Ellen. What is your other correction, Mr. Sprocket? The truth is, I never felt anger or resentment towards Dumas about my sister. What? Why not? That's because... the one who caused the car accident... was me. What? Oh no. He hated himself. Order! Order of the court! Please continue, Mr. Sprocket. I'm the one who killed my sister. To protect my career and my future, my father made Dumas take the blame. In exchange for money and the position of a lead servant. Oh no. So you see, Dumas must have held a grudge against me, not the other way around. He must have attacked Ellen to get his revenge on me. Are you sure about all this, Mr. Sprocket? Very sure. It's all been written down in detail in my notebook. That notebook is important evidence supplying background to this case. I must insist you submit it as evidence. You know, just hand it over. Try not to forget anything while I have it. Well, you said I had turned to murder, but that's just not true. However, it is true that my older sister and Dumas are both dead because of me and my negligence. I just glanced through Mr. Sprocket's notebook. I wasn't able to read the part about when he was stabbed due to the bloodstain. But what's written here about his sister's car accident exactly as he stated? Your Honor, as long as it matches what is written in that notebook. Can we still take the witness's testimony as valid in spite of his memory disorder? Yes, I believe we can. I understand that the witness's memory is in disarray, as is Briley's ability to read. But if what Mr. Sprocket himself wrote in his notebook is true, then that means by the time Mr. Sprocket's party reached the scene, the victim had already been killed. Edward's right. I'm still in the same bind as before. But should I really be simply accepting the contents of that notebook as a substitute for Soren's memory? Well, Mr. Wright, what do you think? Will you accept Mr. Sprocket's notebook as official representation of his memories? Accept Mr. Sprocket's notebook as official representation of his memories. That is what I just said, yes. Why did you repeat what I just said? We don't get to read what it actually says. I was wondering if that was going to be relevant. Wait a minute, Your Honor. Defense requests a chance to examine the notebook to see if it's trustworthy. Very well, but be quick about it. Like, jeez. Thank you, Your Honor. How should we examine it? Well, should we look at it from a different angle to see if there's anything suspicious? Whoa, 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 whoa. Lag. No point if I don't look at what's inside. I have to open it. With your permission, Soren, here I go! I didn't actually give my okay. Yikes! Oh, it's just the page my eye got all stained. You did that! Well, I guess it's not going to be very helpful at this moment. I'll keep going. Last page where there's writing. Something about this page doesn't sit right with me. Let's take a closer look. What about this doesn't sit right with you? It's only completely different and clearly torn out. Huh? The page has been torn out, and it looks like there was something written on it. Looks like a page has been torn out here. Mr. Sprocket, do you know what was written on it? Oh, that. I have to tear out a page when I write somebody a note. I probably wrote something down for somebody, tore it out and gave it to him.
He does do that. Also, how big is this stinking notebook? Stinking endless anime powers. Oh yeah, I remember that. I have several wounds on my head. That solves that then. Objection? Wait a minute. We can't ignore the possibility that something important was written on that page. Now that the page has been torn out, how can we determine what was written there? Well, we'll just have to go over every single note that he's ever thrown. I know what was written on the notebook. We should... hold it up to the light. Heat it with a lighter? Why is that a suggestion? You know what? I am going to save here again, because I kind of want to see what heat it with a lighter says. I mean, would that work? Yeah, it's from everything from the accident, but he writes super, super tiny. I guess that's their explanation, but he tears them out. So... I don't know. I mean, I've had some pretty big notebooks. But... not endless. I know, we should heat the notebook with a lighter. Maybe the heat will reveal what was written. Your Honor, do you have a lighter I could borrow? Do I look like a smoker to you? What exactly are you planning to do with one? I want to heat this notebook over an open flame. Do you have any reason to believe there's something to be gained by doing that? Well, it's just a hunch, Your Honor, but... I won't let you take a lighter to evidence over some simple hunch. Have some sense, Mr. Wright. Yeah, you know what, fair. I think it's fingerprint powder. I don't think the light would do anything. Use fingerprint powder on the notebook. We might be able to see what was written. Fingerprint powder? How would that help us find out what was written here? Well, if the writing left indentations on the blank page behind it, fingerprint powder could make those small indentations visible to the naked eye. Is that true? Oh, stop. Fingerprint powder would only sully the notebook further. Mr. Wright, if you use the powder and still don't find anything, then you must accept the notebook as representation of the witness's memories. Alright, Your Honor, I understand. Whatever. If I don't find anything, it's all over anyway. Powder, don't fail me now! You've been blessed by Emma, it should work. I will now use the fingerprint powder on the blank page to find out if we can see what was written on the torn out page. And maybe get a little bit on the unblank page. First, I touch a spot to dust with fingerprint powder. When I've dusted enough powder, I blow into the mic, or press a button, to blow the excess powder away. And I will purposely aim towards Edward so he breathes some of it in. If something should appear, I should touch Analyze L. To point out what came up, then touch Confirm. Oof. Oh no, something's actually showing up. Would this actually work? Yeah, is this more Ace Attorney magic, or... There's nothing in the middle? That's weird. It could. Yeah, I don't know about the fingerprint powder, especially so clearly, you know? And with someone blowing on it. It says I struck and killed Dumas. This is huge! I struck and killed Dumas. That's what is written on the torn out page. What? It can't be. Hold it. I don't believe it. There has to be some kind of mistake. Soren would never, could never. Miss Watt! Bailiff, please get the defendant to the infirmary at once. And, you know, maybe confiscate that frying pan, just in case. Seriously, why does she have that? Apparently the defendant got too worked up. She's resting in the infirmary as we speak. Now then, please continue, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. The notebook is all Mr. Sprocket has to remember things by. With this critical page torn out, not even Mr. Sprocket himself knew the truth about what he'd done. But did he actually write it? I'm the one who killed Dumas? So it wasn't Ellen. Oh, thank goodness. Mr. Sprocket, does this mean you were at the crime scene during the murder after all? And now Phoenix is like, oh, this is obviously his memory. I guess I must have been. But Mr. Sprocket, can we really believe that what's written in this notebook? Nobody touches the notebook but me. And when I sleep, it's under lock and key. Literally. I don't remember writing that I killed Dumas, but I guess I must have. Well, now that we have confession, I'm afraid I must render my verdict. Of all the... yes, Your Honor. Please give your ruling now while Ellen's asleep. I want the woman I love to be set free as soon as possible. You know, now he's surprisingly sweet. And yeah, of course you wouldn't remember if someone else had it. Soren really does love Ellen after all, doesn't he? Yeah. But this is how it ends. But is that how it really went down? Is there really no way for them both to be happy? I know we should consider anything written in the notebook to be truth, but still. Shouldn't. I myself wrote the crime in my notebook. No further proof is necessary. Soren himself wrote it in his notebook? Wait a minute. Very well. I will now give my verdict. Ellen is about to be found not guilty, and Soren will be convicted for the crime instead. And yet... am I really ready for the judge to give his ruling? Absolutely not. No. Not when there's still one more avenue left to explore. This court finds the defendant, Ellen Watt. Hold it. Your Honor, there's still something that bothers me about that notebook. Oh, is there? Is it the little weird rainbow bull on the front? I'm quite a fan of it, but I get it if you don't like it. What are you doing, Mr. Wright? All you have to do is keep quiet and your client's a free woman. I know, but I think there might be more to this case than meets the eye. Also, like Edgeworth, you know me at this point. I'm not seeking innocence, I'm seeking the truth. Not quite sure yet, but I think there still might be a way. A way for Ellen and Soren to be happy. What do you mean by more than meets the eye, Mr. Wright? I believe the question here is, Your Honor, should be, why was the incriminating page torn out in the first place? Why? To destroy the evidence, I would imagine. But removing it from the notebook is the same as removing it from Mr. Sprocket's memory, which means he wouldn't have been able to trick the police if he came under suspicion. No, if he wanted to cover up his crime, he would have to remember that he had done it. Just what are you getting at with this line of inquiry, Mr. Wright? Yes, please explain so we can all understand. Yes, Your Honor. The page was torn out of the notebook because... the incriminating page was torn out by somebody else. What? And of course it was. It was torn unevenly. You know, his paper airplanes never had any, like, loose ends to them. Order! Order!
Are you claiming that the third person interfered with the notebook? It's not all that surprising if you consider what's happened up until now. After both the car accident and the murder of Dumas Gloomsbury, there was always a cover-up not far behind. Hold it. But I had my notebook with me at all times. Did you? Because I remember you were in a panic yesterday because you couldn't find it. That's true, I think. Do I remember that? So who orchestrated this particular cover-up, Mr. Wright? If we think back over the course of the trial, it's pretty easy to guess. The one who may have tried to tamper with Soren's memories is Larry Butz, trying to steal his wife. The one who tampered with the notebook in order to manipulate Mr. Sprocket's memory is Pierce Snickety. Pierce? Pierce tried to tamper with my memories? Pierce was manipulating me? Case in point, the two receptions that were held to cover up the murder. It was Mr. Nickety who had directed the guests and orchestrated the entire scheme. No, it can't be. I would have wrote that he was untrustworthy in my book. Which of my memories are mine? Which have been rewritten? When did he start rewriting my memories? Who wrote this? And this? And this? And this? And this? And that? I don't even know what that is. Yeah. Uh-oh. He has a jetpack? He literally took off! Og! What? Bailiff! Get your bailiff backpack! Look, Nick, he's coming back down. And he didn't hit the ceiling. Somehow. If only we were in courtroom number 4. Does it even have a ceiling now? My memories. Ellen! Mr. Sprocket! A bailiff! Please get Mr. Sprocket to the infirmary. On the double. Again. Got my work cut out for me. The bailiff does so much and still doesn't have a model. Mr. Sprocket's been taken to the infirmary. We don't have to worry about him running away, so let's resume where we left off. Your Honor, defense would like to call Pierce Snickety to the stand. Objection. We already know he carried out the cover-up to protect the company and Mr. Sprocket. What more do you want from him? This time it's different. I want the truth. The notebook, or rather Mr. Sprocket's memories, have been tampered with. That means the only person who knows the whole truth is now Mr. Nickety. Don't tell me. Are you actually trying to drum up a third suspect in order to exonerate the defendant and her groom? Yeah. I'm not drumming up anything, nor do I have the grounds to accuse him of anything. Yet. All I know is that Mr. Nickety's the only one who knows the truth. And I think he's still hiding something. Something we don't know about yet. No grounds yet, is it? Don't think I didn't notice that. Well, Mr. Atwood, does the prosecution consent to calling the witness to the stand? It does, Your Honor. However, I would like a little time to talk with the witness before we do. Very well. We will break for 20-minute recess. To be continued. Yeah. What part's really obvious? The part where he tampered with someone's memories? Such as, you know, not writing the same way that the other guy did? Now we'll have to face Pierce on the stand. Not sure if I should be surprised or not. One thing's for sure, he won't be an easy adversary. So, do you think Pierce did it? It's too early to say anything at this point. So I'll just silently nod my head and go, Oh, you meant when he's hiding? Well, yeah, that was obvious from the second we saw a picture. I do think he's hiding something. Nick! Why are you pinning everything on sore loser back there? I could have taken his wife! Looks like Larry still hasn't given up on Ellen. Yeah, this Pierce guy's a real bad guy. Soren and my Ellie will live happy ever after together.
Larry, that's not the kind of thing a decent human being says.
I'm not a decent human being. I'm Larry Butz. Shame on you, Larry. Oh, boo-hoo. You think I don't know? I know I have to give up on my Ellie. But Nick, promise me you'll make her happy. She deserves a happily ever after.
I'm sure Soren will make her happy once all this is said and done. Not really my job at that point. Trial's about to resume, Mr. Wright. And what are you doing here? I threw you out. Alright, you ready, Maya?
Born ready. Yep, let's go. I'll be rooting for you, Nick. Outside, of course. I'm not allowed back in the courtroom for some reason.
The judges should probably get a restraining order on specifically Larry. He'll never be allowed in the courtroom again. You know, the judge can do it himself. He's the judge.
This court's now back in session. Witness, please take the stand.
Alright, sir, but where do I take it? Why is it always the shoes in this game?
Please state your name and occupation.
My name is Pierce Nickety. I'm the Sprocket family butler. Let's get straight to the point, Mr. Nickety. Someone tore out a page from Mr. Sprocket's notebook to manipulate his memories. And that person was you, wasn't it? That is correct. What about it? Well, straight to the point. Well, that was easy. So why did you do it? Why did you tamper with Mr. Sprocket's notebook? Please allow me to explain. It pains me to do this, but I'll tell you the truth. Or at least the truth that I want to hear. It pains you? That is correct. But my testimony will go against Master Soren's wishes. Soren's wishes? What is he talking about? You're gonna pin it on Ellen again? Why I tore out the page. I rushed to the Vista deck, but the crime had already been committed. I saw Miss Ellen and Gloomsbury collapsed, and Master Soren writing in his notebook. Master Soren said to me, I'll take the blame for the murder, so please take care of Ellen. But I went against his order. I tore the page out of his notebook at some point and hid the body. Wouldn't he have remembered it at that point, though? He hadn't fallen asleep yet. Wait a second, when Mr. Sprocket was writing in his notebook at the time, could it be... It was meant to be a confession, an admission he killed Gloomsbury himself. Wrote that message to take the blame for Miss Watt? That is correct. That doesn't make any sense. Master Soren did hit Gloomsbury with the time cleaver to save Miss Ellen. Then Mr. Sprocket was the culprit after all. However, that blow did not kill Gloomsbury. That makes sense. Mr. Sprocket's injury wouldn't allow him to put much force into it. Enraged, Gloomsbury tried to attack Master Soren, who was already seriously wounded. But just in the nick of time, Miss Ellen hit Gloomsbury from behind, and finished him off, it would seem. So the one who inflicted the fatal blow was the defendant. Yes, that is correct. But Master Soren tried to take all of the blame onto himself.
No way. This is pretty bad, Nick.
No kidding. Pretty bad is an understatement. Well, well, Mr. Wright. Seems your decision to call for Mr. Nickety is backfired. I mean, that still makes it self-defense, right? For the true culprit behind this case remains the defendant, Ellen Watt. Could this get any worse? I mean, Larry's not here, so probably at some point. But Pierce was involved in the cover-up plot. I bet he still has something to hide. Gee, does he? Why I tore out the page. Wait a minute. I thought you went to the Vista deck with Mr. Sprocket. Actually, that is not true. What? What do you mean? I found this out afterward, but Master Soren went to the Vista deck alone. He went out the escape hatch in the reception hall and went along the outside wall, as you suspected. What? You can't be serious. You mean Mr. Wrights addlepated guess was actually correct. Always is. What's with the addlepated? I suppose truth is really stranger than fiction. So, Mr. Nickety, when you got to the scene, you saw Mr. Gloomsbury, Miss Watt, and Mr. Sprocket. Is that right? That is exactly right. So we were right, and he did actually get to look cool. Also, pretty impressive he was holding in his blood with a blimp. When you and your group arrived at the Vista deck, the murder had already been committed? That is correct. Bloomsbury had already been struck. Miss Ellen had lost consciousness, probably from the shock of the incident. And how did Mr. Sprocket appear? He was bleeding from the stab wound he received from Gloomsbury and was going ow, ow, ow. Barely conscious, he was writing something in his notebook. The mysterious third person Ellen saw was Soren, then. Does that make sense from the video we saw? Not that Phoenix knows about that. So Mr. Sprocket wrote the note of confession in order to take the blame for Miss Watt? Yes. That notebook is the only form of memory Master Soren has, so you understand what his action meant, I trust. Well, what did it mean, Nick? To Soren, everything in that notebook is true. Soren tried to take the blame, by altering his own memory to make himself think he did it. No. Master Soren truly loves Miss Ellen. It must have been love that made him do that. Well, that's very sweet. But I went against his order, because I am not sweet. Mr. Nickety, could you please tell us court about that in more detail? That, you say? Which part do you mean, Mr. Wright? Could you be more specific? I'd rather not. Alright. What part do I want to know more about? Hiding the body, I think. Please tell me more about hiding of the body. Very well. Ahem. First, let me do this, for some reason. After saying he would take the blame, Master Soren passed out. That's when I hid the body. I quickly took the lift down the hold, where I hid Gloomsbury's still warm body in the spare Pegaboo lantern. It was you who hid the body, not the defendant. To think Mr. Butz would move the lantern to contain the body to the reception hall. Well, I did not see that coming. It's alright, no one does. I don't blame you. Not even Larry can predict what Larry will do next. Maybe I should take another look at the lantern evidence. Mr. Wright, would you like to add that statement to the witness's testimony? I said it wrong, but yes. Yes, please? Very well. Please add that statement to your testimony, Mr. Nickety. Hid the still warm body in the spare Pegaboo lantern. And get more information on the lantern. Why did you hide the body in the lantern? As I told you yesterday, it was to make it as though the murder had never happened. Thanks to Mr. Butz, things did not turn out as planned. He'll be getting a bill later. So holding a second wedding reception wasn't Mr. Sprocket's idea, but yours, wasn't it? It was all for Master Soren's sake and Sprocket Aviation. If I am accused of a crime for trying to cover up the incident, I shall accept it willingly. Really doesn't seem to even care about himself. They're talking about the cover-up after the incident, huh? Right, that's information only somebody who's actually involved could know. So it might really be an important piece of testimony. I think so too. I'll really have to tread carefully here. Whoops. I pressed B. What the heck? Sorry, there must be something going by the house, because the entire desk just started shaking. And that's weird. They have been doing some construction work for like the past 2 months, and it doesn't look like they've gotten anything done. So, you know, there's that. Must have been one of their weird bulldozers. Where are the lanterns? This one. Okay. Yeah, if no one was bleeding that handled this, then... Could it be? Is that what happened? What I'm thinking is true. And maybe I can prove neither Ellen nor Soren did the deed. It was a sheep. Mr. Nickety, you said the body was still warm when you hid it, correct? So then, what if Mr. Gloomsbury was still alive when you put his body inside the lantern? What? What? That's preposterous. Actually, this shows that the victim might have still been alive when inside the lantern. I'm afraid you have to point out which part you're talking about, Mr. Wright. I can't stop looking away at the stop looking at the tape. This part here shows that the victim might have still been alive inside the lantern. As you can see, the back end of the lantern is a door. And it's adorable. There's blood here on the wheel handle. Objection! That bloodstain must have gotten there when the witness put the body inside the lantern. It in no way shows the victim drew his last breath while he was within the lantern. I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth, for you see, in putting this lantern back together, the police inadvertently placed the inside of the handle on the outside and vice versa. I'll just, conveniently not mention it was Emma. Just say it was the police. In other words, the wheel handles got swapped. Oh my, so they got swapped. Yes, they got swapped. Oh, so they got swapped. What? They got swapped? But that's ridiculous. Not at all. If you compare it to the other male peggable lantern in the reception hall. Ta-da! Quite obvious the wheel handles were attached backwards. What? But I did my best. The detective in charge of the restoration will see me in my office later. She might be excited for that. Sorry, Emma, and good luck. In that case, what does the blood stain on the wheel handle mean? The blood stain didn't get there by chance. When the victim was put inside the lantern, he was only unconscious, not dead. When he regained consciousness, he probably tried to get out of the lantern. So he grasped the inner wheel handle, and that's when the blood got on it. That proves the victim was still alive when he was inside the lantern. I mean, I guess he could have slipped and fell and hit the lantern. That would have been funny. At the time, I was completely convinced Gloomsbury was dead. Had I checked more carefully, he might have survived. Unfortunate to be sure, but not significant enough to change this trial's outcome. Again, I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. It actually has a very significant impact on this case. The victim was struck by the defendant, then died from his injuries sometime later. Nothing more to it. Objection? That's where you're wrong. And I'm right. Let's take another look at Mr. Gloomsbury's autopsy report, shall we? You dare update an autopsy report in front of me? Please focus on the description of his injuries. It says one contusion was found on the back of his head and one on the side. Yes, the one Mr. Sprocket gave him and the one Miss Watt delivered to finish him off. No, the defense would like to submit a different interpretation. A different interpretation? The victim was knocked unconscious by the first blow and was then put into the lantern. Then what about the lethal blow by the defendant that the witness talked about? Yes, well, that didn't happen. After some time, when the victim regained consciousness and tried to get out of the lantern, that's when he received a second blow that finished him off. Taking into account the fact that the victim was alive for a period of after the first hit, and that he did receive a second blow to the head, does seem entirely possible. Yes. As long as the first blow didn't kill the victim instantly, then there's a possibility that someone other than Mr. Sprocket or Miss Watt delivered the fatal blow. Objection. That's all you've got. Even if there was a time lag between the two blows, the prosecution's position doesn't change. What? What do you mean? It's elementary, my dear Wright. After the reception, when the defendant was cleaning up the reception hall, the victim, who was supposed to be dead, suddenly came out of the lantern. The defendant grabbed the murder weapon, which was right there, of course, and finished him off. Theory sounds awfully familiar. Of course it does, Your Honor, because it's exactly what I proposed at the very start. The second blow was inflicted by the defendant after all. I see. I feel like there should have been music there for you. Seems like a tangle of mysteries unraveled into a single thread.
Objection. As long as there's a possibility that the fatal blow was delivered by a third person, then we must continue deliberations. Give it up, Mr. Wright. Unless you have something to prove the presence of your precious third person. You know I do. I just haven't found it yet. Okay, Nick, just relax. You can do this. Deep breaths. Big smile. Come on now. Take some deep breaths. Good idea. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. There. Don't you feel better already? Maya's right. I should calm down and get my focus back and go over everything again. And hopefully I'll be able to find something to prove there was a third person. Let's see. First, why did Gloomsbury attack Ellen? Because he was tired of taking blame for the accident? Something about that line of reasoning just doesn't feel quite right to me. No? How come? Well, if it's just a personal vendetta, he had already stabbed Soren. So why then was he so determined to go after Ellen? You're right, this whole thing feels too premeditated for a crime of passion. Bloomsbury didn't seem to have a personal grudge against Ellen. Bloomsbury didn't have a personal reason to attack Ellen, then... You've taken long enough, Mr. Wright. It's been 5 text boxes. Now it's time for some action. What proof do you have that a third person was involved? Alright, I'll show you. Not completely sure of what I'm doing yet, but it looks like I'm out of time. Just summarize every game in the series. This piece of evidence proves the involvement of a third person. This one? I get it now. Now I see why this note bothered me so much when I first saw it. Looks like a note outlining a murder plot. That note was apparently written by the victim. But why would he feel the need to write the instructions to himself like this? And how do you know that? Your Honor, please take a look at this note. I'm trying to keep this case afloat. This is the victim's murder plan, right? It's definitely a murder plan, but what if Mr. Gloomsbury didn't write this note himself? What? I mean, I guess it stands to reason. Why would anyone do that unless they had a memory issue? This is how you intend to conjure up your mysterious third party, Mr. Wright. Can you prove that note wasn't written by the victim? Yes, using my favorite evidence. Yes, I can. Very well, then. Please present your evidence, Mr. Wright. This evidence proves the victim didn't write the note. My favorite piece of evidence. This is the weapon Mr. Gloomsbury used to stab Mr. Sprocket. Isn't it amazing that, someone being left-handed only comes up when someone being right-handed is really important? I was wondering what you pulled out this time. Dare I ask what it could possibly have to do with the note? Did you try to set it on fire like you did that notebook? Mr. Gloomsbury's prints were found on this candelabra, and the prints were from his left hand. So that makes the victim left-handed, correct? Exactly, Your Honor. The police looked into it too and confirmed as much. Now take a look at the smudge writing on this note. Notice how the smudging only starts from the middle of each preceding line. Had this been written by a lefty, the writing would be smudged from the far left end. This means that whoever wrote this note was definitely right-handed and also very clumsy. In other words, someone other than the victim wrote this note. What? But if someone other than Mr. Gloomsbury wrote it, then what does this note mean? Mr. Gloomsbury followed this note to the letter when he attacked Miss Watt. So clearly this note is a murder plan written by Mr. Gloomsbury, but rather... these are instructions to kill Miss Watt, issued by somebody else. Objection. If it wasn't the victim who wrote these so-called instructions, then who wrote it? Most of the people involved are right-handed, you know. He is correct. The majority of the family and their employees who were on the airship were indeed right-handed. I must say, that is a very rough and slipshod conjecture you proposed. Slipshod? I haven't figured out who wrote it just yet, but I have the feeling I'm looking at him. Leave it to Mr. Edward to go for the jugular. Culbert ordered Bloomsbury to attack Ellen. What could their motive have been? It doesn't seem very likely Ellen did anything to incur anybody's wrath, right? Right. Not too likely, anyway. In that case, it has to be about Soren. If someone were to hold a grudge against Soren, what would it be about? That accident, I guess.
I understand if Gloomsbury felt resentful about having to take the blame. But the one who lost the most that accident was Soren's sister. She lost her life, after all. You know, relatable.
Entertain me!
Time travel.
Hello, Mimikyu. Thanks for time traveling 51 months into the future to subscribe again. I really appreciate it. Ow. Soren suffered too, of course. He was crushed by losing someone precious to him, and also his brain. Somebody precious, huh? Soren's sister. Wait! There's one more person! There's someone else who must hold a grudge against Soren. Did you figure something out? I think so. I think that somebody else used Gloomsbury to try and get revenge against Soren. Did you say somebody tried to get revenge against Mr. Sprocket, Mr. Wright? The person who manipulated and used Mr. Gloomsbury was... the person who used Mr. Gloomsbury to try and get revenge on Mr. Sprocket, and then finished Mr. Gloomsbury off to silence him, was a man dear to Mr. Sprocket's older sister, Selena Sprocket's fiancée. Not that I'm positive, but certainly possible. This fiancé could have made Gloomsbury attack Ellen to get his revenge on Soren. What? A fiancé? Oh, she's married to the Muffin Man. Order the court! Order, I say! Yes, it does seem quite believable that Miss Selena Sprocket's fiancé, who we've just heard about, would bear a grudge against Mr. Sprocket for his role in the accident. Exactly, Your Honor. Maybe our fiancé was trying to murder Miss Watt, in order to make Mr. Sprocket experience the same pain he felt. Miss Sprocket's fiancé was a surgeon, if memory serves, but the only people who attended the reception were family and staff members. That may be, but that just means that Miss Sprocket's fiancé must have been among those who attended. What? Really? Of course. Otherwise, how could he have killed Gloomsbury? Oh, I see what you're doing. This is just another giant bluff, isn't it? All right, I'll bite. Who exactly do you claim the fiancé to be? Yes, I would like to know as well. Are you sure you're gonna be okay, Nick? Maybe? When it comes to suspicious people, there's only one person on my list. Larry Butz. Need to find something that connects him to Selena. This will help us identify Mr. Sprocket's fiancé. Please take a look at this photo. Try not to laugh. It is a dead person, Your Honor. That photo? Did you just steal that from our house? No, I just copied it. Don't worry about it. Notice Miss Sprocket's pocket watch. Haven't we seen it somewhere before? Yes. Now that you mention it, I do feel as if I've seen it somewhere before in the past 5 seconds. I've never seen that before in my life! Who uses a pocket watch in this day and age? I believe we've all seen it. Right here in this very courtroom. I'm looking at it right now in this photograph. Impossible! That's right. The pocket watch in this photo. And I noticed that right away, but... the same pocket watch Mr. Nickety has on him right now. What? I feel like I've said that too many times today. This is clear proof of a strong connection between Pierce Nickety and Selena Sprocket. No. Well, Mr. Nickety, is this true? Mr. Nickety, you were once engaged to Selena Sprocket. That pocket watch, you kept it as a memento of her, didn't you? Don't you? Very astute indeed, Mr. Wright. Mr. Nickety, you plan to rob Mr. Sprocket of his loved one, to make him feel the same pain as you, isn't that right? But Mr. Sprocket managed to fight back and knock Mr. Gloomsbury unconscious. You thought Mr. Gloomsbury was dead and hid his body in the lantern. But then you noticed Mr. Gloomsbury regained consciousness. And so you finished him off to prevent your plan from being exposed. This is the defense's take on what really happened in this murder case. Mr. Wright, does this mean you wish to officially accuse this witness of the murder of Dumas Gloomsbury? The defense accused Mr. Nickety of the murder? Absolutely. Is that even a question, Your Honor? Defense indicts Pierce Nickety on the charge of murdering Doomans Gloomberry. Oh my! Mr. Nickety, would you care to respond? I plead the fifth. Man, this lawyer just yaps on and on and on. As you guessed, this watch is a memento of Selena. It stopped working at the time of the accident, though. Then you really are... Yep. Yes, I was Selena's fiancé. And not just her fiancé, but the surgeon beside her deathbed. Objection! Objection! Mr. Nickety, why didn't you tell me any of this before? Was it important? Shut it, you useless prosecutor. I thought you could be of use, but apparently this case was too much for you. What did you say? If your office hadn't stuck its nose all up in this, I could have swept it under the rug. Not only did you interfere with the case, but you even let me fall under suspicion. That's because you kept trying to cover things up on the sly. Ugh. Covering things up wasn't your only involvement. The only person who had motive to use the victim and try and kill Miss Watt was you! Ugh. Ah! He exploded! Get this stupid thing off my shoulder, whatever. Ah, I see. And now he's a surgeon. The gloves are off, Mr. Wright. Malignant tumors. There are malignant tumors in this courtroom. Medicine's oozing with false charges. Wrench. Who was the hand? The tumors are of idiotic lawyer and one useless prosecutor. After the truth is revealed, I'll have both of you incised from the legal world. Who was hand? I'd like to see you try. With the power of the Sprocket family, it'd be a cinch. I will now begin the operation. What in the world happened to Mr. Nickety? His voice is different. Looks like he's finally showing his true colors. Nick, look what he did to that shoulder mech. It's gross now. Quit your yapping before I suture your chatty lips shut. It's like he's a completely different person. Why does this happen every case? Don't ask me. Sure looks like it, huh? Can't let our guards down now. Mr. Nickety, it's finally time for you to testify. To the truth. It seems we're entering the final act at last. Witness your testimony, please. I can't help but think of the medic from TF2, honestly. Dot 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 dot. That was the best testimony we've had in a while. Mr. Nickety, why didn't you say anything? I don't take orders from you. Flash. Ack! He took a picture of me. Or something. And my eyes are gone. You want me to voluntarily testify. I hope I'll make a slip of the tongue. Also, the hair is attached to your skull? This... the case aside, this can't be healthy, Mr. Wright. Not a very impressive plan or brain, I might add. Ow, that was uncalled for. If you want to know something, you ask the question. I will answer, but I have no intention of making any voluntary statements of my own. Ugh. What's he trying to do, Nick? Using the silent treatment as a strategy to avoid getting tripped up. Clever guy. No more lies, Mr. Nickety. You'll tell us nothing but the truth from now on. Ah! Well, what do you think you're doing? No one asked you to speak. Just keep quiet over there and play with your frills, which are apparently invading your spine. That can't be good for your heart. Your heart should not be frilly. How dare you! Well, this is a rather unconventional situation, and inconvenient. Please proceed, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Alright, what am I doing? Right to remain silent.
He won't speak voluntarily, then I guess I'll just have to ask him something. What question should I ask? What's your reason for killing Gloomsbury? I don't know. I'll go down the list, I guess. Is it true that when Mr. Gloomsbury regained consciousness inside the lantern, you murdered him in order to silence him? He was an excellent employee and very loyal to me. Gloomsbury was my right-hand man. I'd suffer most from losing him. You really think I'd kill a guy like that? That would make sense only if you were innocent. But since your goal is revenge, you don't really have to care about something like that. But I am innocent, I tell you. Don't try to force your conjectures onto me. Ugh. Guess without decisive evidence, I can't pursue this line of questioning any further. Mr. Wright, would you like that statement added to the witness's testimony? Yeah, sure. I mean, it's better than dots. Every little bit I can drag out of him helps, right? I mean, him being your right-hand man kind of makes you even more suspicious, really. Won't speak voluntarily, and then I guess I have to ask him something. Is the other one gone? No, it is not. The other one should be gone. You've been nursing a grudge against Mr. Sprocket over the loss of your fiancée, isn't that right? I'd be lying if I said I felt no resentment whatsoever. But Master Soren didn't cause that accident on purpose. Master Soren himself suffered greatly. But you quit being a surgeon and found a way to get even closer to Mr. Sprocket. Wasn't that so you could carry out your revenge on him? Don't insult me. Supporting Master Soren and Sprocket Aviation was with my life's work. Is my penance for not being able to save Selena. This is how I honor her. I feel your devotion as both a fiancé and a surgeon. Your statement breaks my heart. My achy breaky heart. Well, I can't operate on it, so I never thought of exacting revenge on Master Soren. Never thought of it, huh? I guess I should probably take that with a pound of salt. Mr. Wright, would you like that statement added to the witness's testimony? Yeah. Yes, please, Your Honor. I have to find an opening somehow. Also, I guess it's a shame I didn't play this 3 years ago, huh? He would have been appropriately dressed. Or I guess even 2 years ago. We still had masks around then. Won't speak voluntarily. I guess I'll have to ask him something. On the day of the incident, you were constantly surrounded by your subordinates. Is that right? Absolutely. I was in someone's line of sight at all times. After all, I was busy taking care of every detail of the event. Mr. Edward, I believe your investigation backs up my claim? I got statements that groups of his subordinates worked with him in rotation, though he was always with someone. As the prosecutor just said, as useless as he is, I couldn't even get close to the lantern containing Gloomsbury myself. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, isn't there like the school kid trope of like a random kid that's just wearing a mask at all times? Let alone kill him. Pierce didn't have a chance to get close to the victim alone, huh? Mr. Wright, would you like that statement added to the witness's testimony? Yes. Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to have that statement added to this testimony. That is what I asked. Very well. Whatever. I was always in the company of others. I didn't have the opportunity to murder Gloomsbury. Also true. You know, this country's too big that people aren't always near each other. Although, I don't know. The most often I was sick in my life was definitely when I was in school. What did Mr. Gloomsbury think of Mr. Sprocket? After all, he was forced to take the blame for the accident. He must have been resentful. He got this position as lead servant in exchange for taking the blame. It wasn't exactly a bad deal for him. Pays well. Well, he must have felt some sort of indignation. Who knows? He's dead. Now that we'll never know. Now that he's dead, we'll never know for sure. Pointless to talk about it any further. Alright. Dead men tell no tales after all. Unless... Maya!
We have no bad... Yeah. You have had no thoughts of vengeance towards Mr. Sprocket whatsoever? Of course not! Selena wouldn't have wanted that. I've thrown my life away and lived solely for the sake of the Sprocket family. This is how I show my love for her. Or that's how I show my love for her. Alrighty then. Well, one thing's for sure. Pierce gets really emotional when it comes to Selena. No kidding. Not sure how he feels about Soren, but his love for Selena is pretty obvious. So you were always in someone's line of sight. I was surrounded by family members and staff as we prepared for the reception. During the reception, I was stationed behind the sweetheart table to attend to the couple. When could I have possibly committed the murder? I'm not buying it. Pierce is the true killer. There must have been some time when he was out of everyone's sight. What do you think, Nick? Are there chances for us here? As long as we have some kind of testimony from him, there has to be. I'll always have to compare his testimony against the evidence and find inconsistencies, right? Exactly. This is it. I have to do this right. Yeah, I was thinking that too. I mean, I have the Kararan thing as our background still because it was this game, but it is surprising that the DLC was this and not over there. But maybe they were planning on only going back to that in like the next game, and then we just never got one. Okay, which one? I mean, there is this. Double check everything else, though. But I think that might be the only one. Oh yeah, of course. But even those had, like, the other gimmicks in them. Like the bracelet and Athena's thing, but Athena's busy, and I'm kind of sad we didn't get Mia at all. But I'll always appreciate Maya being around. This is the only thing I can think of. But also true. I'm assuming this theme of a time travel thing was what had them use all the old stuff, especially Larry. Nope, not this one. Your Honor, the witness statement contains a glaring contradiction. This is the piece of evidence that says it all! Wait, hang on. I didn't actually have that selected. 10. Let's see what he says. Maybe. Will it start saying something anytime soon, Mr. Wright? I don't think paper talks, so it's not speaking up at all, is it? Maybe it's being shy? Your evidence has said nothing at all to this court, much like your witness. But your choice of tactics speaks volume about you, defense. Well, even I knew that wasn't a very smart move, Nick. Ugh, don't sass yourself, Maya. Oop. Full life. Never happened. What points to him being alone? Is it this one? Because he's the only one not looking at them. Objection! It was. Mr. Nicodemus testifies he was always with someone at the time of the incident, and never had a moment alone to commit the crime.
Yes, that's what he just said. Police investigation backs up that statement, doesn't it? But there was an opportunity, in fact, one and only one. The moment when Mr. Nickety could have killed Mr. Gloomsbury without anyone noticing. What? And the one thing that made that moment possible is shown here in this photograph. With all those people watching, I couldn't have possibly committed the murder. Do not believe him, Your Honor. This lawyer's a malignant tumor. He wants to infect this judicial body with the virulent, objection. Mr. Nickety, I'd ask that you keep quiet this time. I agree that he is a tumor, but he's a tumor we need. We need to evaluate the defense's claim. And your yammering only serves to throw further suspicion your way. I think Edgeworth might have taken his comments personally. Yeah. Mr. Wright, let's see this one thing you mentioned. But be warned. This had better not be one of your offhanded claims. Who do you think you're talking to, Mr. Edgeworth? You. Very well, Mr. Wright. Please point out for us the one thing that made the moment of the murder possible. That one moment when it was possible for Mr. Nickety to kill Mr. Gloomsbury. One thing that made a single moment possible is this. I don't know which one they want me to point to. Like, do I point to the people, or do I point to them? I think I point to them. I've got plenty of hits left. Nope. What? That's what made it possible? How exactly does that do that, Mr. Wright? Well, first it flings away those loose sand with the flippers to make the hole on the beach. Wait, what? What did I point to? Then the eyes glistening with maternal affection, it takes its nest and... Mr. Wright, are you describing how a sea turtle lays her eggs? I was so focused on answering that I forgot what we were actually talking about. Can't just say whatever comes to mind, you know. Seems like you truly jumped the shark at last, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm just saying the old thing isn't good enough. I have to get it together. Well, that was the most random response he could have come up with, I guess. Where did a sea turtle come from? Did I point at him? Oh, hello, OP. Hope you're having a good day. I'm sure it's better now that you've seen his phony outfit. Yeah, that was part of the DLC, was giving Phoenix this outfit. And Apollo got a school guy outfit, and Athena got a waitress outfit for some reason? Or was that the last game? No, she got the schoolgirl uniform in the last game. Because Junie was around. Did I point at him? They're just in them. Nobody comments on them, sadly. Would be great to have a throwaway line of, that outfit looks really familiar, but kind of fake, Mr. Wright. Your badge isn't made of cardboard, is it? Of course, we did get that question with Apollo, and that was pretty great. What? Alright. Talking about the turtles again. I don't know which one they want me to point to. Do I point to the eyes? Or am I pointing towards the smoke? Yeah, actually, yeah, that makes more sense. I mean, I thought the smoke was part of it, but I thought it was just more that everyone was focused on them. So I was wrong. One thing that made the moment of the murder possible, this thick mood fog that engulfed the entire reception hall. It is under the cover of this fog that Mr. Nickety murdered the victim. What?
Mr. Nickety was standing right next to the lantern that Mr. Gloomsbury was in. This was the only moment the murder could have been committed without being seen. Objection. I can accept there was a moment when the witness was obscured from others by fog. But that doesn't prove Mr. Nickety killed the victim at that very moment. You can't prove the crime was committed during the reception. The trial ends here. So caught up in finding a foothold that I forgot to think that far ahead. Well done, Mr. Edgeworth. The time to call this trial's time for death. Well, Mr. Wright, can you prove the murder happened during the reception? Don't even bother. His claim's dead on arrival. Victory is within your grasp, prosecutor. I'm definitely not sweating. Quiet, witness. I have no interest in victory. All I care about is the truth. One that we can arrive at through further deliberation. Edgeworth. Enough of this, Your Honor. This trial's over. No, Mr. Nickety. That is for me to decide. I'm the law here, chump. Mr. Wright, can you prove it? Can you prove that the murder was committed during the wedding reception? Why is there no verdict yet? The lawyer's obviously out of answers. The prosecutor, the judge, they're all infected. Their malignant stupidity is so advanced, not even the best surgeon could save them. In fact, not even a brain transplant could cure them. This court is infected with idiocy. It's a pandemic. Objection! Mr. Nickety, shut up! Enough already. Finally ready to give up, are you? No, just the opposite, actually. I'll prove the murder was committed during the reception. By you! Oof! You'll prove it? Can you really, Mr. Wright? Yes, I can, Your Honor. To be honest, I don't know exactly how I'll do it just yet, but I'll come up with something. Needless to say, Phoenix is not a surgeon. Like, oh, that's a really bad infection. Well, I don't really know how to work on this, but I'll figure it out. I'm gonna get the truth Edgeworth was talking about. I'll just have to find that way. Very well, Mr. Wright. Let's have your proof. Enough of this foolishness. He's just bluffing. Stop him from speaking, Your Honor. I will do nothing of the sort. You are just a district court judge with the power of the Sprocket family. Enough of your foolishness, Mr. Nickety. This judicial body will not succumb to the influence of money or power. Maybe, you know, sweet buns or something, though. Now then, let's hear it, Mr. Wright. Let's hear your truth. Think, Phoenix. Remember everything you've learned so far. Oh, right. I forgot about this process of the game. You can do this. You can find definitive evidence that will lead us to the truth. Brain blast! Think, Phoenix. How can I prove the murder took place during a wedding reception? Pierce committed the murder during the wedding reception. He had to have used his shoulder mech, the fixer-upper. What? Not even in the throwback case. Use the murder weapon. That's why it's the murder weapon. Yes, the weapon that was used to strike the victim twice. For the autopsy report, the victim was hit by the same object both times, so without a doubt, Pierce used it to commit the murder. The weapon used to kill Gloomsbury was... I don't know why they're even asking me this. Hey, he used the murder weapon to do a murder? That's a bad, you know. People die when they are killed, I hear. If Pierce struck the victim during that one single moment, he must have used the timekeeper. Come to think of it, wasn't it also used for something else during the reception? During the reception, the timekeeper was also used for... the first startup of love, right? Yeah. Because of keys. Timekeeper had been activated. That's right. Timekeeper had been activated during the reception. We activate the Timekeeper again now and find any trace evidence of the murder. That would be conclusive proof that the Gloomsbury was killed during the reception. Do we know what it does? I don't remember it being discussed what it actually does. Special ceremony took place during the reception in question. What kind of special ceremony? Did it involve cake? I could really go for some cake right now. It was called the first startup of love, Your Honor. Apparently the couple activated the Timekeeper for the first time during it. Does that mean the Timekeeper here in evidence isn't activated at the moment?
What would happen if we were to activate it? It isn't another bomb, is it? Had enough of those. Why don't we see for ourselves? Give us a chance to examine it. While we're at it, we might just find some conclusive evidence. What? No, you can't activate it. Mr. Nickety, keep quiet or I'll have you thrown out of court. Yeah. By the way, Mr. Wright, it's supposed to be a time machine, right? We aren't going to travel back in time to the Stone Age or anything, are we? I don't think we have to worry too much about that, Your Honor. I'm still a little nervous, nonetheless. I mean, the pterodactyl was pretty scary, but the truth must be known. Very well, go ahead and start up the timekeeper. Do you know how, Nick? I think so, maybe? The bride and Gloom each had a symbol of their love, and when they put it together... Oh, how romantic it was. Let's see, I think the symbol of the groom's love must be the timekeeper itself. What symbol of the bride's love would fit together with the timekeeper? Oh, I know, that has to be it. Mr. Wright, are you ready to activate the time machine now? Yes, Your Honor. Symbol of the bride's love, is that necessary for the activating the timekeeper is... The thing that says it activates the timekeeper? Okay. And in place where? It doesn't look like it fits anywhere. I figured it was their actual pendant, but... I didn't even kind of jammed it in? Mr. Wright, you know what's coming, don't you? The penalty, Your Honor. I'm glad you understand. That will save us some time. Dang. Alright, it's a silly necklace. Miss Watt's pendant is a symbol of the bride's love that's necessary for activating the timekeeper. What? And that mean you can start it up with Miss Watt's pendant? I believe so, Your Honor. Very well, please try it now, Mr. Wright. Well, I don't have it, Your Honor. She's in the infirmary. Okay, here I go. But first I have to figure out where the heck the pendant goes. And is. I guess it goes where the other one is. Also, it has flowers on the side. Never noticed. Guess that explains the double flowers. Which ones? In. There we go. Motion controls are difficult. This hole looks like a good spot. I'll try setting the pendant in there. Whoop. It fits! This must be the right spot. Now to find the place to insert the key. I don't actually know where this one goes. In case he's made of metal, I'm sure wouldn't want to get hit with something like this. True. A shame Mr. Gloom was already doomed. Oh, in the middle of the pendant. Could this be it? I guess that makes sense, yeah. It's a wind-up toy. Well, that's adorable. It worked! The timekeeper's been activated. Now all I have to do is find proof that the crime was committed during the reception. Well, it has a big bloody glass stain on it. I think I found it! Yeah, it'll hit him like a... Hit him like a timekeeper. Inclusive evidence that the murder was committed during the wedding reception. Although we probably should have looked at it a bit more. It does seem adorable. As I suspected, there's evidence of the murder inside the timekeeper, Mr. Nickety. Why did no one ever open it? Timekeeper was only activated and opened during the wedding reception, right? No, stop!
So that means this is conclusive proof that the crime was committed during the reception. Ak! Aktoon. After you killed the victim under the cover of the fog, you closed the timekeeper to hide the bloodstain, didn't you? No, you're wrong. Ellen killed Doomsbury. It wasn't me, I tell you. Objection. Give it up, Mr. Nickety. How could the defendant, who was in the middle of pledging her love, have possibly committed the murder with everyone watching her? It was the family. Yes, all the family members conspired together to kill him. There's no way you can talk your way out of this, Mr. Nickety. During the reception, during that one dreamlike moment, only one person could have used the timekeeper to beat the victim to death. And that one person was you, Pierce Nickety. No! Back! No, this isn't over yet. I won't give up. Ah, no! I cut the artery. This stupid thing. Stop the bleeding now. Give me 4 steps. 4 steps, I said. Hey, where is everyone? Fine. I'll manage this alone. I'll do it all myself. I can fix anything. Repair anything. You have to get better. You have to live. You must. I would have been able to save her. Only I had listened to her. Only I had treated her first. Only that Soren hadn't been there. Selena, no. He just died of a heart attack, or was he just being dramatic? Witness, are you finally ready to tell us the truth? Just as the lawyer deduced. It was a revenge scheme against Soren Sprocket. Do you have any idea how hard it is to lose someone you love right in front of you? More than you think, actually. And, you know, I think everyone in here can relate to this. Except maybe the judge? Hey, his family seems all pretty happy. Selena's condition was clearly more critical than Soren's, but in spite of that, she said, "Please help Soren." Miss Sprocket's last words. So that's what she really meant by those words. I was able to grant her wish, but at the price of her life. You got a job with Sprocket Aviation, waiting for your chance to get revenge. You got close to Mr. Gloomsbury and hatched this plot, is that right? Gloomsbury already bore a grudge against Soren. So when I tempted him with even better position, he immediately took the bait. He was your accomplice, someone who shared the same goal as you. Why was it necessary for you to kill him? I didn't expect Soren to strike Gloomsbury out on the Vista deck. I certainly never imagined he'd make his way there alongside the wall. That is his coolest moment. Soren's love is the real deal after all. My plan had been compromised, so for the time being, I hid his body in the lantern, and tried to think of my next move. And then Mr. Gloomsbury came out during the second wedding reception. As soon as I saw Gloomsbury, I instantly hit upon an idea. To pin the blame on Gloomsbury's murder on Ellen. You tried to break up with the couple by making the bride out to be a murderer. How despicable! Soren was getting the company and wedding. Both things that were supposed to be Selena's. He took every happiness away from her. All you ungrateful humans who took everything away from me. Who's the despicable one here? Do you think what you did would make her happy? I know it wouldn't. But I couldn't just stand by watching Soren enjoy his happiness. I was going to have Soren taste the same pain that I had, and then take over Sprocket Aviation. I would take back from here all the happiness that was rightfully Selena's.
Time stopped for me the day I lost her. Just like this pocket watch of hers. Hold it. Pierce. Miss Watt, you're alive. I believe Sinolina would have said, leave this ill will behind. Your time is yours to live. It's too late for me. Time will never advance for me ever again. What? It can't be. All you had to do was give it a good squeeze. I see now, Selena. What I did was wrong. I see no further need to continue this trial. Bailiff, please take Mr. Nickety away. Here's Nickety, another inconsolable time traveler, who lived in a time that stood still. Now then, I must render my verdict regarding the defendant. Where'd the witness stand go? Your Honor, before you give your ruling, would you please allow me a moment? Very well. Ellen, something I need to say to you. Gonna propose? Yes, Soren? I put you through something truly horrible. This whole thing happened, all because of me. I would understand if you wanted to call off our marriage. What? Is that where she's been keeping those? How deep are those pockets? Of course not. I never once thought that. If you stay with me, you'll only face even more trying times in the future. What do you mean? Truth of this incident, the car accident before it. I'm gonna tell the public everything. I expect the company's reputation will suffer, and I'll take a lot of criticism. But I feel I can only really start over once I get everything out in the open. Soren? After all that's happened, I might not have the right to ask you this, but... Well, how should I say this? Maybe I'll just write it down, there you go. One last paper airplane. No. I don't need it. A life with me probably won't be very easy, but... Will you marry me? I already did, dummy. Yes, of course. But what was the truth of the incident? Your Honor, thank you for this time. Please continue with your ruling. Very well, but first I have one question. Do the two of you pledge your eternal love to each other and the goodness of justice? And the goddess of justice, Themis? I do, Your Honor. I do. Does the prosecution or the defense have any objections? Well done, Your Honor. No objections here. Defense has no objections either, Your Honor. This court finds the defendant, Ellen Watt. Ha, that's not right. This court finds the defendant, Ellen Sprocket. Nice one, Your Honor. I kind of expected him to say they were man and wife. But, I miss Gumshoe's confetti. This court is adjourned. I'm gonna go hang out with my wife. I'm glad he changed it to Sprocket. That was very sweet. Best character. Defendant lobby number 3. Ellen, Soren, congratulations. Mr. Wright, can't thank you enough. If you hadn't exposed the truth, Soren and I wouldn't. We wouldn't. Now you can officially start your new life together, right? Oh, thank you. Mr. Wright, we'll be holding our real wedding ceremony in the near future. Would you do us the honor of coming to it? Oh. I want you to witness our fresh start. Of course, I wouldn't miss it for the world. And Ellen, this time it'll finally be happily ever after, right? Oh yes, I'm sure no trouble happens when you're actually on the scene, Mr. Wright. You know what, maybe I shouldn't go. Two of you would persevere and overcome the trial together. Now, no matter what obstacles come your way, I'm sure you'll be able to handle them. Together. Another thing I'm sure of, too. This person will always be watching over the two of you. Take that! Selena, yeah. I think you're right. We promise to live life to the fullest, for Selena's sake, too. Right, Soren? That's right. Well, you better be on our way. Yes, my love. Oh. Wow, the old threshold carrier. Way to show off. You know, now I can believe he did just walk across the wall. We'll be seeing you. Goodbye for now. I'll be looking forward to that wedding. Hold on tight, Ellen. Is he gonna fly out of here? You better believe I will. I'm never letting you go. Well. There they go. Maya, the ceiling does have an opening, right? Not thinking of going to that wedding by yourself, are you, boss? See his guns when he throws his airplanes. I don't want a gun-powered airplane, though. Taking us too, right? Oh boy, I bet there's gonna be all kinds of fancy food there. Athena, when did you get here? Just now. I would have been here to cheer you guys earlier, but I had a few flaming rings to jump through. Tracy never gave me a chance to slip away. You're gonna be in even bigger trouble with her later. Speaking of the wedding, maybe I should ask them to invite Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth, really? But he thought Ellen was guilty all the way to the end. That may be true, but... this takes place after the game. After the main story. Don't even bother, his claim is dead on arrival. Victor's within your grasp, prosecutor. Quiet, witness. I have no interest in victory. All I care about is the truth. One that we can arrive on through further deliberation. If he hadn't stood up for us when he did, the trial probably would have ended there. You mean Mr. Edgeworth gave us that chance? Maybe. Though, knowing him, I doubt he'd ever tell, even if I asked. Well, if that's how you feel about it, Nick. Why not get him invited? Hey, Maya. Have you ever tried to catch the bouquet? What? No, it's cursed. I never have either. Fighting over a bouquet that's been tossed by the bride. Talk about a fierce competition. I'm totally stoked. I'm not sure it's really supposed to be all that competitive. I also have a distinct feeling I shouldn't compete with you. I'm a pretty good jumper. I think I've got a chance. He's definitely missing the point of the whole thing. And Larry, how did you manage to stay so quiet for so long?
Shut up! Wishing the lady you fell in love with every happiness is... Wishing the lady you fell in love with every happiness is what a real man does.
I'm pretty sure that relationship was over before it even began, Larry.
Darn it all. If only I was 10 years younger, things would have gone differently. Hands of time, why won't you turn back for me?
Well, that is a thinker, isn't it? Why is Larry always involved with time? Today is Ellen and Soren's third wedding ceremony and reception. Heard the bride and groom insisted to be on the flying chapel again. In the end, they were nice enough to invite me and Maya. And Athena kind of invited herself. They also invited Edgeworth, Emma, and even Larry. The third time's the charm, right? Really do hope it's happily ever after for them this time around. Still, I get the feeling it's going to be one rowdy party, and why have they not fixed that bench yet? I know it's because they just didn't want to redraw the thing, but...
Ready when you are.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. Here we go.
Larry changed jackets.
Huh?
Hmm? Huh? Me?
No. Give it here. You're about to die.
Haven't you ever heard of ladies'
I'm truly blessed to have you.
Sorry, it's laggy, but... Well. The end. Saving data. And that does it. We are officially done, for now, with Phoenix Wright. I hope you all enjoyed our great DLC adventures. Yeah, same. I also want to say that Maya looked very much like Mia in the anime scene. Something about her face, the way it was angled. I don't know what that Project X zone is, but I have no interest in fighting games. And as I said before, the Layton crossover was already done by Sivia, and arguably done better anyways. Project Cross Zone? Yeah, but I don't have that. And I don't really want to go out and buy a fighting game. But it is sad to say that our adventure with Phoenix Wright is probably over for a while. I do hope you all enjoyed the silly voiceovers, and I only took 11 hits for the DLCs at least. It was like 30 something for all of Spirit of Justice, and I don't remember what we had on Dual Destinies. Well, 30 something plus the 11. I think we were in the 20s. Not that it matters. I definitely cheated a few of them. But that was also partly because I wanted to see what they would say. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about the free PS4 stuff. I don't even remember if I'm still subscribed or not. But because of this being over, that means that Mondays and Wednesdays are open once again. I don't know if I'll do anything special this Wednesday, might just stick to other stuff, but I think the plan... Also, hang on. I hate this music. It's not even really music. Anyhow, this is more applicable anyways. Well, first I want to say thanks so much for, being around for all the streams over the years. Maybe I'm feeling sentimental, but it feels weird to finally be done with Phoenix Wright when it kind of set up the flame for a lot of other streams over the years. I've streamed for almost 6,000 hours, And a lot of them were Phoenix Wright, altogether at least. But next week, next Monday, will be the start of a new retrospective series. I got it a while ago and just never really messed with it, but it will probably be the beginning of Chrono Trigger. So if you enjoyed that game, you can look forward to more of it next week, as I go through it for the first time. I've watched a speedrun of it, I think, but heck if I can remember any of the stuff. I don't even really remember how it's played, so... I should probably get my own notebook to write down all my memories, but that's work. So we'll go from a time travel DLC to time travel incarnate in an RPG. Have not touched it. I have never touched it either. It was just outside my list of games, But for now, that'll be it for today. Thanks a lot for watching and hanging out, and I really appreciate all of you who exist. So, thanks for listening to my silly voices, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.